And we're live. Hey, everyone, and welcome to Whiskey Charlie, the War Game Chat. We do a live show every month on YouTube. Tonight is a special St. Paddy's Day party. I'm Mo from Mo's Game Table, and joining me tonight are my co-hosts, Dan the Man Pancaldi, or O Pancaldi tonight, from No Enemies Here, Wargaming News. O Pancaldi. And we've got our other special co-host tonight, Kev Sharp from the Big Board. He is the CEO and president for life, as Dan says. Welcome, guys, to the show, and I hope everybody's doing okay as we're quarantined at home.
Nice to see you, Kevin.
So what are you, we Irish folk?
Well, I mean, hey, it's a St. Paddy's Day party. We're all Irish here tonight, even you, Dan. I know you're Irish on your right side, at least.
Well, my ex-wife had some Irish in her, if you know what I mean.
And that's now her new husband.
Wow.
Oh, we started already. That happened quickly, didn't it?
Nate may join us tonight. He has actually got some plans, so he may be a little bit later. He'll let me know when he's free if he wants to join in with us. But
wonderful.
We figured, hey, you know what? Everyone's stuck at home. Let's have some fun, have some good war game chat, have some shenanigans, and maybe a surprise or two. So we'll just have to wait and see. And the big surprise, the first surprise, number one, is Dan's hair. Model it for everybody, Dan. All right, in the chat, let's get some comments here on Dan's awesome hair. Tell me that does not remind you of Lando.
Well, I wanted to pull a Lando when you said it, but I was getting sick of my hair's so thin now that I was getting sick of, so I just wanted to cut it. So since my wife doesn't want to cut it anymore, I had my daughter cut it. So as she was going here, I asked her to stop. So
yeah, it's probably a good idea.
I wanted to be like a jar head, but then it came out more like eraser head. Hey, how do you like that? Look at that.
You need a little gel. I'd put a little gel in it and get that sort of thing.
No, yeah. I enjoy it now.
Can't take me anywhere. Kev, what's going on with you?
Not a whole lot. We've been hunkered down. The funniest thing that happened to me today was that yesterday we went and bought all these groceries for the grandparents who trying to be careful and safe and all the rest of it with the whole virus thing. So we got the whole family out across multiple stores for multiple hours. We get all the food back. They're set up, ready to go. Got a shift set of folks are going to turn up to cook and all that sort of good stuff. I go, we're out and about with the missus today. She gets a text. Oh, hey, can you guys come by and cook for us tonight? We'll be back after we go to Randall's and then Costco.
You're not supposed to be going out.
No.
But I thought you were 84 and not going out.
Exactly.
My wife blew a gasket. She's been pissed off the whole day, which has made our life miserable. Kids are hiding in their rooms. I'm here. So I'm hiding. I locked the door.
So she says anything, say, honey, I'm on the air. I can't get away.
This is, we've got thousands or 4 viewers, as the case may be.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So that was the funniest thing that happened to me today. But other than that, I mean, good. I decided to set up Battle for Normandy.
Oh, wow.
Just cause.
Is that an OCS or a BBS or a GGG game?
You're SOL if we're going to start talking about that.
Yeah. RTFM.
Exactly. So you got that set up. You're going to play. What are you playing? The full campaign or just a short scenario?
I'm doing the Omaha landings, and then I'm planning on taking there's a campaign that runs from the 10th of June. I'm going to take wherever I'm at with Omaha, and then transfer that to the complete campaign for the 10th. And we'll see what happens. So I wanted to use that as a learning exercise because I've played it 2 or 3 times, but just little scenarios. So I wanted to see what it was like with the whole shooting match.
Nice. Nice.
So that's the big thing at the moment.
And what about you, Mo? What are you doing?
Work. It was all that stuff kind of just filtered down very rapidly. Thursday we had, last week was spring break, as it was for a lot of people, and had a very small amount of people on site, and everyone else was out having a good time. And Thursday talk started coming down about it, and then Friday is when people started, hitting the kind of the emergency buttons and saying that, hey, we need to start looking at VPN, NetMotion, things like that are keep people connected, and then WebEx, other ways of doing teleconferencing and stuff. And then yesterday when I went into work, we were talking about it, and then it just came down. Boom! Everybody's working from home. I was like, well, not everybody. There's a small group of people that'll be staying in the office for now, but that's expected also to change. So, and there's continuingly shifting word nationwide to everybody. Some people are saying stay home, don't even go to work.
When is tax time for you guys?
April
15th, but it's all been deferred. You got 90 days extra.
Exactly. I just heard that today.
Yeah. I look at it. I'm not going to get into. I don't want to talk about it that much, but it's
a mess.
I think it's a bit of a mess and a little bit overblown.
Oh yeah. But anyways.
But I'm hoping if things kind of settle down a bit, that my microphone is smoking. That I can get some gaming in, and I have. So it's a 1759 Quebec that I put on the table. I was like, that I can probably jam out in like a lunchtime game or something like that real quick.
Worthington one?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the solitaire. It's really meant for solitaire, but you can't play 2-player. It's like, I can jam that out real quick, play that, get something in, and try to get something else out on the table. And I got to get some other stuff. Hopefully, maybe get something I can, videotape if I can play, if I get some time to play. But it all depends on what's going on with work. That stuff's up in the air. So. But what about you, Dan? Don't tell me D-Day Dice again.
I like D-Day Dice.
I know you do, but don't say that game again.
I got Castle Litter today.
Nice. That's a good one.
I'd like to play it. I saw Rob play it, and he was surprised at how much fun it was. And I was like, I gotta get it.
Castle Litter, is that what it's called?
Yes, sir.
Have you played that one?
It is about what?
That's the one by Dave Thompson. He did Pavlov's House.
One of the last skirmishes that happened. They were trying to rescue some high profile prisoners, and the SS were keeping them guard. And the other Nazis got together with the Americans and started shooting. And that's as far as I know, Kevin.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the one battle where the Germans and the Americans actually fought together against the SS.
Look at that.
It's have you played Pavlov's House, Kev?
Oh, yes, I have.
Iter is basically the Pavlov's House portion of Pavlov's House, minus all the operational stuff. It's just
okay, gotcha.
Let me ask you. You're a guy who plays like a serious. When I say serious, you play serious war games. So when you play a game that's a little bit easier, like a Pavlov's House or a Castle Iter and all that. Like, what's your approach to a game like that? Do you change mindset? You know what I'm saying in terms of
read the manual and play it.
Yeah, well, no. What I'm trying to say is that do you I don't know. What am I trying to say? Do you bring down your expectations?
No, I don't. Not at all. I mean, I think. When it comes to whether it's a smaller form factor or a shorter game versus a bigger complex game, doesn't matter. It really, number one, what matters is your mindset. What are you in the mood for? Are you mentally ready to sit down, set up a game and play it for 2-3 days, 2-3 weeks? Something like that. Generally days, not many times you're going to leave something set up for weeks. But if you're going to play something long-term over the weekend, this is going to be the game for the weekend. Then you're already going in there. I'm going to concentrate on this one game and I'm going to have fun with it. If you want to crank out a game in an hour, maybe even play 2 games of the same game, then hey, go for it. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with the faster games. As a matter of fact, I think a lot of people prefer those for the simple fact that they're easy to set up. You can jam it out. Not a lot of rolls overhead, and you have fun. You can actually complete the game in an hour or 2.
Now, the reason why I asked that, Kevin, is because I actually. I've seen your videos. You've played Phantom Leader, and you were pleasantly surprised at how much fun you had playing that game. Am I mistaken?
No, you are not mistaken. I enjoyed it. It's a good game. Pavlov's House didn't grab me as well. I felt it was very sort of programmatic, but for me, I'm similar to Mo. You know, a simple game has its place, and I try not to come in with expectations.
Okay.
I would like to just read the rules, and that's going to give me an expectation once I've read the rules and the designer notes. And then I'll have a look at the game, and then I'll play a couple of turns and work out, is this something I want to, you know, dig into and get deeper into, or have I seen enough and it's not for me, or whatever the case may be. But it usually doesn't take me, you know, maybe, you know, it just depends on the game, but, you know, a handful of turns or a couple of plays, depending on the game, to understand, is it my type of game, or is it a good game yet not my type of game, or is it just a big pile of stinky, smelly stuff and we should all avoid it?
So I'm curious, Kevin. I'm not picking on you. I'm just curious.
Yeah. No, hey, why stop now?
Now, when you say a good game, but it's not for you, do you have an example of something like that?
You know, about 300 of them. I sold them. No, there's. I can't. Off the top of my head, I can't. But if I think of it later. Sometimes there are games that you will play, and you'll go, okay, this is really well done. The map is good. The artwork's good. The rules are good. The design is good. It plays well. I like the gameplay, but I'm probably not going to get to it again because, it wasn't that. It didn't grab me or engage me by myself, or maybe it's something that I got really excited about and thinking this is going to be awesome opposed. So let me go put it up on the shelf and I'll find someone to play with, right? I don't. Let me think about an example of something that didn't grab me, right? But I that's generally how I approach it.
And I mean, your tastes, because I do watch your videos, are pretty eclectic. You go from ancients to modern, this and that. Would you play? Do you ever play anything that doesn't interest you, and then you're surprised at the subject, or you just, if it doesn't interest you, you're just not going to play it?
I really, really want to love and learn and like games about the American Civil War, but I have a really hard time at the tactical level getting excited about them. I don't know why. It's not a big leap from Napoleonics to the American Civil War.
Yeah.
But it is very different it's interesting from a technological standpoint because the guns changed and they had rail and they had telegraph and cavalry was less important and they fought in different terrain and all these fascinating things. But when I actually set a game up and start trying to play it tactically, a tactical level thing, I come like, not really. I don't get very excited about it. I don't know why. I've played Herman Luttman's tactical system and can't think of the name of it right now, but the Gettysburg game and one other, Longstreet Attacks or something like that. Played those. Like the operational stuff, but there's an era that I have challenges with mentally.
Is there an easy Mo? Is there an easy Civil War game you can suggest? I mean, I know Herman's the Gettysburg one. it's not.
Yeah, that would be the one that I would say when it comes to easy. When it comes to easy, that would be the first one that would come to mind.
Because I was thinking of getting Mark Herman's the C3I magazine one, but I don't understand. And I got in touch with Roger about this. Is that I click on the game, I want to buy it, and then shipping is like $50.
Well, that's because you live in the Great White North.
So
I tell you what I'll do for you. I will buy a copy, or I'll send you my copy, and I'll ship it to you for free.
Well, I appreciate that.
Because in America, that only costs
$225. You need to play that game. It's great.
Look, man, I'm telling you. You know what? I'll pay for the shipping. How's that?
No, it's fine. I'll just let me just buy it and I'll give it to you. That's fine.
You always have to be the big man, eh?
No, I tell you what. Okay, you know what? All right. You know what? You can pay me for the freaking game and I'll ship it to you.
He'll autograph it for you too.
No, come on, man. That was better the other deal before.
I don't need a deal. I'm just trying to help you out. I mean, I feel for you in your little socialist democracy up there. I'm sorry. I want you to have a game without being raped by the government.
Another good one I was going to suggest when it comes to easy Civil War games, it would be Battle Cry.
I actually have Battle Cry.
Do you have Battle Cry with the little miniatures?
With the little miniatures?
Yeah.
No, what am I thinking? I'm thinking of GMT's.
No. This is not GMT. Who made that?
It's the Richard Borg stuff.
Yeah, it's Richard Borg. Who made
Command and Colors before Command and Colors. Hey, yeah. Thomas, how you doing, man? I see Thomas here.
Yeah. Tom was. We had fun. Him, me, and Nick had fun at San Diego playing.
That's right.
Stalingrad 42. Yeah, that was good fun.
Oh, it was Thomas that told me to drink some old Pulteney, eh?
Yes, he did.
Well, tell him I drank half a bottle of 12 and a quarter bottle of 15 just a couple of days ago.
And then he told me to get his damn name off the screen because it was creepy. Tom, we're going to be creepy all night. We're going to be putting people's names up all night. But yeah, no, Battle Cry is actually a fun, simple game. Yeah. And what it looks nice on the table. And the reason why I suggest that as well is because I had that on the table several years ago. And I was just playing. I was playing solitaire. And my wife walks by and she goes, "Oh, what's this?" And she picks up the miniatures and she's like, "This is kind of cool. Show me how to play."
No way.
I was like,
wow.
All right. So I sat down, showed her how to play. She's like, "Oh, this is cool." She's like moving the horses around, the little cavalry and the little cannon and everything. We played that game like 8 times and she loved it. And I was like, okay. And then I broke out Memoir 44. She didn't like that as much. I think because there wasn't any horses involved or something. I don't know. But, she did like it, Battle Cry. And we played it a bunch of times. And I still have it. I actually got 2 copies of it because I figured one of these days maybe we'll play one of those giant games because they have giant scenarios for it. But that's kind of, that she hasn't played it since. But
and that's a Richard Borg game?
The Richard Borg, yeah, it's Command and Colors. Like Kev was saying, it's Command and Color system. You play by cards.
Who publishes that Battle Cry?
Oh, I gotta look that up.
I don't think it's in print anymore, is it?
I think it's out of print now.
Yeah,
but I think it was like Milton Bradley or something like that.
Yeah,
that did get
you
it.
can get a secondhand copy. It's not expensive unless it's become a collectible. I keep reaching to the right because I'm seeing the camera, thinking that my drink is on my left, but it's
Wizards of the Coast.
That's why
I got it. It's right here. I'll be fine.
It's Wizards of the Coast that published it.
Okay.
Avalon Hill initially published it, and then when Wizards did it, they put the miniatures in it, and you can get it now. Let's see. It is going for, you can get it anywhere between $50 to $100.
You mean US?
US, which is like 7,000 American. I mean, Canadian.
No.
And Tony said that it was Hasbro that was the parent company. That was what I was trying to remember. I was thinking it was
right. That's right.
Milton Bradley, but it was Hasbro.
And that's when Hasbro made that strategic purchase of all the small war game companies going, "This is going to be great." Oops.
Yeah.
Like Asmodee.
Yeah. Yeah, what's happening with that now? I mean, people are hating Asmodee real much.
I think it goes back and forth. I think it's because of the mappy pricing that they're doing that some people are not happy with. The retailers are happy with it because it does cut down some of the online undercutting that really hurts them. Because I mean, if you're going to go into an FLGS and say their retail price of a game is $80, you're going to pay $80 in the store.
Yeah.
Right.
Go online, you pay $55. Who's going to buy in a store? Not many people are going to pay that much more money. I mean, in reality.
Sure.
So, even with all of the talk about, well, they give you a game space and everything. Yeah, okay, they do give you game space, but am I going to pay that much more money? Most people aren't. So, with the map pricing, it does kind of keep that, limits down the percentage. So it does make some sense, but I think what they really need to do is do a little bit more to support in-game, demos, in-game events, things like that. That's something that war game publishers really should try to explore a little more, I think.
So that's a really good point about in-store stuff. A couple of my friends got excited about that very first Star Wars game that came out. And you know how you could be, I forget all the characters' names. You could be Luke and all those guys and fly down the doohickey and drop the bomb and blow up the Death Star and all that sort of fun stuff, right? So we played that a couple of times. And then they got excited about it and contacted the publisher, or someone contacted them, or I don't know how it all worked out. but they end up having little tournaments, and they would teach people how to play, get them to buy into the game and buy a copy, and then have a tournament with sponsored prizes from the manufacturer, right? So you win a card and a mini and all this sort of stuff. And I think minis companies do that sort of thing really, really well. War game companies don't seem to care that much, and I don't think a lot of companies, I don't think as many war game companies care about the retail channel as much as they care about online sales.
True.
So I think that's a problem.
I think one thing that they really could do better with war game publishers compared to, the hobby game side of things, and now there is a difference between the two, which I'll get into as well. But what they could do is have more demos in store, even for the smaller games, and even if it's just, obviously you're not going to demo an entire game for most games. You're going to demo like a couple of activations, or maybe even a half turn or a full turn or something like that. That would be, for some games it could take several hours. But from the hobby game side of things, you can actually knock a demo out in 20 to 40 minutes, depending on the game, and you can play either a couple turns or the full game. So that they do have that leg up there. But still, when it comes to learning a war game versus a demo game, a hobby game, you're learning 2 to 4 pages of rules versus 20 to 40 pages of rules. There's a bigger overhead for a war game. So it would, I think,
type of game, doesn't it? Right? Like a squad level, platoon level thing.
Sure.
Obviously not TCS. That's tactical combat system, Dan.
Thanks, man.
I'm here for it, baby. So squad level, tactical level, you can do those sorts of games and play something in 30, 45, 50 minutes and do a demo. It goes to OCS, that's operational combat system, Dan.
Thanks, man.
And it takes you 4 hours to set it up. You get quarter of a turn done, and people are like, bye-bye, Whereas but what about Vassal? Why can't we use Vassal as a way? I mentioned this to David Heath a few months back. So where you're building great content for learning with videos, but what about having like a live play session and have 10 Vassal sessions going on his chat room or Discord or whatever, and do something like that?
Very true.
Hey
Dave, how's it going?
Different Dave, but hey.
But that is a great point. And, Vassal is a useful tool where you could actually do that, because war gamers are much more spread out than hobby gamers. Hobby gamers, you can throw a dime in there right there.
Yep.
Whereas war gamers, we're both in Texas. We're a couple hours from each other. So the odds of us being able to play face to face are, smaller than they would be at, for hobby gamers. But due to Vassal, Tabletop Simulator, things like that, or any online multiplayer war game, like with Lock and Load Tactical Digital, that's something you can just say, hey, Kev, you available? You want to knock out a game? You can play live, you can chat, and you can play a live game.
Yep.
Vassal, you can either play by email or you can play live, but there is a learning curve involved with Vassal too. So that's maybe a kind of a hindrance for some people.
But if you're under 80 or 70, you can work it out, right? It's not rocket science. Anyone who,
it's true.
And it's kind of a good hurdle, right? Because if you can't work that out, you're probably not going to be able to.
The Blue Tweezers has shown up. He said he would be in here, and he is here.
I'm going to just mute myself for a minute. Be right back.
Uh-oh. He's muting himself. That means his wife is in here, and she's banging on the door saying,
no.
I'm still mad. You can hear me.
Kev, you should turn off you should mute yourself.
Yeah, that's something that, Vassal would be a good tool, as would Tabletop Simulator. But, having, some sort of demo program aside from just at the cons. At the cons, obviously, it's a big sell, but it's there for the reason of selling. They want to teach you a game so that way they can sell a game. But it would be great to teach people how to play games, because there are a lot of people that are curious about, like, TCS, Dan, Tactical Combat System. Did you remember it? I was going to say quiz time.
I know SCS too, man.
Oh, what does that mean?
That means Standard Combat Series. I just blanked. I knew it.
And it has a box
like
and
this
a lid.
one?
It has a box and a lid.
Tom will like that one, because Tom was talking about, Panzer Battles games not too long ago. But yeah, no, it's one of those things where you can have a demo and make it like a, like some groups will do that. They'll say, hey, come on in and join us and watch us play on Vassal. And it's great if you are learning a game. If you're already familiar with the game, you can kind of learn by watching other people play. But at the same time, it depends on how much BS they're throwing into the game as well as the actual game. And are they open to people asking questions, or they say, hey, don't bother us, we're playing a game. You can just watch. You can't do that either. It should be a social thing.
Yeah, it really should be. But I do have a funny story about that. One time there was a while back, I used to post, hey, I'm playing live with my buddy, and if you want to come in and watch and have a chat, please jump in and come and join in on Skype and Vassal. And so there was no cameras and stuff like that. It was just a Vassal session. So this one chap, I decided to get on, and I was moving and doing things, and he goes, oh, well, no, that's wrong. And I'm like, oh, yeah, good catch. And so I moved it back one and then did something else, and then he called me out again on something else. I went, actually, if you look at the rule thing, it's just this, and no worries. He goes, oh, yeah, I didn't know that. And then this happened 3, 4, 5 more times. And I said to the guy, I said, hey, look, you've been, and he started getting more and more aggressive with his tone and sort of, oh, well, no, that's a +2. And I went, hey, buddy, look, I appreciate you trying to help, but my friend and I are playing, you're watching. Just shut up. Oh, is this not suitable for work or family? Sorry. But I said, shut up, and I muted him. I let him watch, and he still stayed and watched. He didn't leave. He didn't get pissed off. He was, but dude, like, lighten up. It's okay. If we're making mistakes, pull it out. That's okay. But don't offer my opponent like, oh, but no, you need to do this. No, don't do that either, please. Like, we've been playing for 12 weeks or 14 weeks, and then some guy jumps in and goes, oh, you're doing it all wrong.
Hey, Dan.
Yeah.
You were incorrect, according to Tom. SCS stands for Sad Canadian Syndrome.
Yeah, Tom, I hope you're Greek, because I want to say something in Greek that you're going to understand. Okay?
Uh-oh.
So I don't want to say anything bad, because maybe your children are listening, but it starts with an M and it ends with an A, okay? And it kind of, in the middle is this.
You said nah?
Wow, what's so aggressive?
Hey, relax.
He's our angry resident. He's our resident angry Canadian.
Angry Canadian. It's like a little mini werewolf with no hair.
Oh my God, I can't wait to meet you in person.
It's our mini bald werewolf. A bald wolf.
You won't see me coming. I'm going to be I'm going to be at ball sack level, and I'm just going to whatever.
Wow.
Like in Game of Thrones, they have dire wolves. We have bald wolves. So no, that is true. That brings up a great point. We've talked about it before a couple times on the show about the people who will sit there and, oh no, it's a +2. You're doing it wrong. It's a freaking game. Enjoy it. Yeah, we all, every one of us makes mistakes with war games. I don't care who you are.
Correct.
We make mistakes. Sometimes a couple, sometimes a lot.
Right.
Because the rules overhead, varies with different games, and you cannot keep a lot of rule systems in your head. I mean, how many systems can you keep in your head, Cap, at one time?
At one time?
Yeah. No, seriously. I mean, because I know you play a ton of games, and you go from like, you'll get a game, and then you're always saying, your thing is throw dice, play games. You get a game in, and bam, it's on the table, and that's fantastic. But how, like within 2 weeks you're playing another game, or maybe on your second or third game, how much of that first game do you remember?
Yeah, quite well, a reasonable amount. It's particularly with systems, right? So it's easier with systems, with TCS, OCS, BCS, and all that sort of stuff. That was active combat system, operational combat, and battalion combat system. Yeah, but sorry, it's so easy. So I've got 3 games set up right now, right? So I don't know cold all those rules. I just play them, and if I get stuck, I look it up. I'm not proud. But as you become more familiar, you do more reps. It's easier. Doesn't mean you're competent. It just means you're easier. It's easier. Ask Thomas. He and I played EFS, and we played a whole 5 turns of a campaign, and we both screwed up some things with supply.
Oh, so you know Thomas?
Yeah, Thomas and I have played on Vassal quite a bit, and we've had dinner together in Austin, and we've snuggled. No, we didn't snuggle. That's different. Sorry.
Is Thomas Greek? Is he Greek?
Oh, hey. No, yes, maybe.
No, he's a good Irish guy.
He's a good Irish guy.
He's Greek.
Faristore.
No, Tom's a great guy. And, you know,
Yes.
we had a lot of fun, like I said, in San Diego playing Stalingrad 42 the year before. We didn't get to catch up and play because he was knee deep in Korea OCS. And he's still waiting on Korea from Compass, as we all are. I want lunch on. You know, that's an inside joke between us because when we were playing Stalingrad 42, you know, I kind of tweet that out occasionally because there was something about Korea and then lunch and Incheon all kind of blended into luncheon. So it's kind of like one of those con stories. But yeah, it's true when you're saying about series that you can learn something. That would be a good point for a Vassal live playthrough, kind of like a boot camp almost, where you could go through the procedures of different things, which is what I did at CSW with Rich that I met over at the con to play Next War advanced rules, because we'd never played the advanced rules. We both wanted to.
Right.
But it's something that, you know, by yourself, it's like, it's a lot when you're trying to do all that together. So, or do that by yourself. So it's easy to do it together. And I was like, wow, it is complex, but it's not, you know, it's not something you can't do solo. It's just a lot to do.
Mutual play, you get much more out of a game.
Mm-hmm.
You learn the game faster. It's a richer experience. It's more fun.
Sure.
You know, I play solo just because it's my hobby, and then I have game time with buddies, but I don't have the ability to do, you know, 3 nights a week playing games with people on Vassal. I'm on a screen all day anyway. So.
Do you have the patience to teach? Let's pick a guy, some guy like me.
Dan Pancaldi? No.
It would depend on the game. So, like the Waterloo game, I could teach you the Waterloo game in 15 minutes. It's easy.
But that's supposed to be the easiest game in the world.
Huh?
That's supposed to be like a super easy game.
Well, it's super easy to learn the rules, but it's actually, there's a lot of layers in that game that, in nuance of how to play well. It's a very, very, very interesting game.
That's Mark Herman, right?
Yes, sir.
You've heard of him, right?
Yeah. You know, and it's funny,
Typical Canadian. It's funny, eh?
Hey.
Most of the designers I've met, I've been totally blown away with.
That's all I know.
With what? What did he say?
Softball.
Softball. I don't play softball.
It's out of here.
Oh God, it's so easy.
Well, they're little geniuses, man.
They are.
No, are you a designer, Dan? You said little geniuses.
Hey,
I think he means geniuses.
I know. I was just busting his chops. No, it's right. I mean, you're right. They're very, very, very smart people, and but they're also very cool.
Like you said, Mark Herman, I said the game was easy, the Gettysburg game, and you said, yeah, but there's a lot of depth to that game.
Yeah, there really is. There really is. It's very, very cool. I'm not going to say anything else about it because I will go on about it for the next 10 minutes and bore crap.
Which one?
The Gettysburg one.
Oh, what were you going to say?
I'm talking about Waterloo. Well, there's Gettysburg, but the Waterloo one is the one you want. The Gettysburg one is kind of, it's okay. I would get the Waterloo one.
Really?
CGI 33.
Send it to me, right?
That's what I'm sending to you.
Because Waterloo 1815 is the newest one, and it uses the same system, just expanded.
So being an artist myself, I like being at that high level artist myself. I'm saying, when you listen to a super easy like Beethoven piece, like a bagatelle or something, like really, really easy. And it's so easy on the ears, but the depth of that piece, I mean, we can analyze that piece to death. So that's why I got like Mark Herman, man. You're telling me the game is easy to learn, but there's a lot of depth. There's a lot of years in that guy's head, and there's a lot of smart.
So here's what would be interesting to me. I would love to see if there's something in writing from you, Dan, or a video, once you play this game and goof around with a bit, maybe you and I have a chat, and I'll help you see some of the things I saw in the game. Be interesting to see you talk about a bagatelle, which to me sounds like a baguette, but it's probably something different. And the game, and do a comparative of levels of depth.
That's
think about that, right?
Very interesting.
Right, but think about that, right? I mean, it's just two different artists designing / writing something. How you said you could talk for hours about the bagatelle, and I bet you I could talk for 20 minutes about Mark's design, and you could get Mark's commentary on it as well, and the history behind it. You would have a really interesting piece that would probably resonate with people.
You know,
food for thought.
You know, you're not just a handsome man. You're a smart guy yourself.
Man crush time.
I love you, man. I love you so much.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
What, to have man crush time, or for you to do that?
Oh, man, the comparison between and form and form. The comparison between two different forms.
You know, it would be really good. Is that would make for a great segment on No Enemies Here.
On knowing what?
That would make for a great little segment on No Enemies Here to have at the, like you've been doing these end of the show shows and things like that. You can just do like a small segment about that and then segue into a full video. Say, hey, for more of my thoughts on this, check out this video.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for giving me work. Thank you.
Hey,
well,
that's what we're here for.
We're here for you, buddy. We're just humble war gamers. We're not big time, bloggers like yourself.
Thank you.
Let's see. How many people do we have in the chat? We have 20 people. We had 21. Now we're down to 20. Wow. Why are you guys leaving? I mean, we said there would be surprises.
Well, maybe they weren't here when you said that. Maybe you need to reiterate that.
We're talking about SCS. Who wants a copy of Panzer Battles? First one that says it gets it.
I want it.
Not you.
No one's saying nothing, man.
Well, if no one claims it, you get it. But seriously, I've got a copy of Panzer Battles I'm going to give out to someone that is here live in the show. This is the first time we've done a giveaway.
I don't want it. I don't want it.
Matt says Dan gets it.
Oh, no.
Tom says not me because he has a copy.
And
Robert Carroll says he will take it. Robert,
winner chicken dinner.
Send me a message on Facebook. Yeah, I think you're a friend of mine on Facebook. If you're not, let me know. But send me a message with your address. I will ship that out to you. And being that we're in this quarantine stuff, and happy St. Quarantines Day, we're going to just, get some games out to people and have some fun and play some. What was that that Tom said it was before? The SCS. What did he say it was stood for?
What, stupid Canadian something?
Yeah, no. It's Standard Combat Series. No, Standard Combat Series. And you can actually, I think what are they at now, Kev? At 1.8?
7, I think.
7? Okay, so you can actually print out the latest if it's not in the box, which I can't remember. I have a copy of it. It's on the shelf. I don't recall if it's 1.7 or not, but you can just download it.
7, maybe it's 8. I don't know. I haven't looked. It could be 8 because I don't have Panzer Metal, so maybe it's 1.
Yeah. And then you can just download a copy of the rules if you want it to get the latest and greatest, which really there's not a dramatic difference between 1.7 and 1.8. It is just mostly errata and some small changes. Excuse me. I think it was.
I'm looking right now.
Are you checking? Okay, cool.
It's 1.8.
1.8.
Well, there you go. So it's SCS rules version 1.8, September 2015.
Wow. So it is 1.8. Okay, so but that shows you the validity of the system that's been around for that many years, that's been created, and how good it is. And it's not, it doesn't have a lot of rules overhead. It's a pretty simple system to learn.
Easy.
But it's fun. The games are great. Have you played any of the SCS? I know you played SCS, Kev. How about you, Dan? Have you played any SCS? Do you have any? Which one?
Corellia
44.
That's a tricky game.
Mighty Endeavor.
Where are you going to set that up, dude? That's biggie.
The big boy game.
And is Is the new game by Chacon an SCS game?
What's that?
No, that's front toward enemy. That's tactical.
Now, hold on a second, Kevin. I've been in psychology for 20 years, in psychiatry, and I read your tone when you said, nah.
Is this sit down on the couch segment here?
What's wrong, Kevin? What's wrong with Chacon's game here?
No comment.
You see the perceptiveness? You see that, Mo?
I did. Well, Kevin and I had already talked about front door enemy prior to the show, way prior to the show.
Yeah.
But, and I kind of, expressed that in the last show when we were talking about CSW Expo, about my concerns about it. Now, like I said, I've still only played the one scenario.
Mm-hmm.
I want to play the others, and I want to see how the Hellborn movement and all does impact the game, because I'm thinking, okay, if you can really move, troops across the map, okay, well, you get into contact, you find out where they are. Well, I mean, obviously you know where they are because you can see them, but if you get into contact, and especially with dummy counters, if you're playing, opposed, then you do have to seek them out. But then you can find them, then you can Hellborn troops in, hopefully, and then you can get yourself, you're basically sending out a recce platoon that's going out there and finding where they're at, and then, okay, you're in contact, boom, let's drop some helo troops on them, and then you can get into a battle. But, but then again, that is how Vietnam was. It is jungle warfare, and we've talked about this, Kev. You said about Pacific, it's basically just land, barrage, land, pummel. Japanese just stand there and duke it out, in World War II. And it's similar in Vietnam, but there's more mobility, more maneuverability, and there's also concealment.
Yep.
But hold on, are you talking about the actual rules of the game, or are you talking about what's missing in the game? Mo.
Yeah. About what's missing with what?
About these tactics, moving in this bad Hilo, Halo, SCS, BFA, and is that what's missing? Is that what's missing in the rules? Are you saying this is what should have been implemented?
No. I'm just saying I haven't played enough of the scenarios. I know. Someone take away his sugar, please. He's like a wind-up toy. But that's why we love you, Dan. It's something that I'm not exploring. It's something I'm not. See, this is the shenanigans part that we talked about. You add in whiskey, and this is what you get with grown men. But I've not explored enough of it to know if my assumptions are correct or not. And that's something I said to Kevin. I don't know how many more scenarios than me that Kev has played when it comes to front towards enemy, as far as how much he's explored it.
Well, I'd like to know that. How many more scenarios have you explored, Kevin?
I'm not commenting on any of this. I have nothing to say about front towards enemy.
There you go. Matt says there's a no enemies here segment. Dan is head shrinker to the Wargame YouTube content creators. Wow. That would be good. That would actually be good.
Now, wait, hold on. Just wait.
What?
Now, why can't we talk about this? What
we are talking about it.
You are talking
I have
about
nothing
it.
to say about it.
We got Robert. You got Robert all scared now because you said, "Oh, front door enemy not good."
I didn't say it was
that.
bad. I didn't say anything. I have not said a freaking word.
Because he didn't say nothing.
Nope. But
dude,
tune in next week for no. No, we're like I said, I have not explored it enough.
Right.
How many games? How many scenarios do you play, Kev?
I'm not talking about the game. I have nothing to say about it. And it's not because I don't like it. It's not it.
You haven't played it enough, or
it's all good, dude. Let's move on, right?
Dan wants to get you on the leather couch there, and
really. Let me lay down for you.
Let's talk about your feelings.
I need a hug, Dan. First of all.
No, but when it comes to the front door enemy, as far as Robert, his concern with it, don't be concerned with it. I'm not throwing it out saying it's a bad game at all. I'm just saying I've not explored it enough to really say, from a level of any type of confidence that it's bad. My point, what I was getting at, what Dan was asking about, was later on in the other scenarios, I'm hoping that there's more of the, what Vietnam combat was pretty much like. You're going out there, you're seeking the enemy, you find them. Then if you can bring in some helicopter with using helicopters, bringing some heliborne troops, and then get into contact with them because you're seeking them out. Because there's a lot of concealment when you play, opposed.
Exactly.
Versus solitaire.
There were very few set piece battles in
exactly.
War. And does that game represent that search and destroy type metaphor? And that's something yet to be determined by Mo. That's all
exactly.
what we're saying. And I just went, yeah.
No, I understand.
Now, when it comes to actual like Vietnam combat, if you want a tactical game that you want to just throw down and play, that is guaranteed fun, and I'm going to say this without any bias, Lock and Load Tactical Vietnam. Heroes of the Nam is going to give you that because you're going to get into a Vietnam. You're getting into a bunch of scenarios in Vietnam, and it's going to put you right there, and you're going to have this big battle, or a small battle, depending. And that's what's great about having the amount of tactical systems that we have. You pretty much, they're dominated World War II, but there are a bunch of different types of systems out there. Banner Brothers, TCS, like you were saying earlier, Kev, Lock and Load Tactical, ASL, Front Toward Enemy, you name it. There's a bunch out there. Conflict of Heroes.
Band of Brothers. I actually own it. I've never played it. Now, I know Judd Vance had said this is the most simple in terms of rules where you can explore many, many tactics. You're not bogged down by the rules. Yes?
No, you're not. You're not bogged down by the rules, but you're also going to hit 4 tactics.
Yeah, correct with infantry.
Now the thing is, okay,
the tank stuff is bullshit.
Really?
Oops. The tank stuff needs work.
Because that's a Jim Crone game, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now Jim Crone is known for Space Empires, if I'm not mistaken. Space Empires 4X.
Yes.
He
did Space Empires 4X, and Kev's not going to, and that's going to get Robert all afraid.
So there's a game that I tried to play once at a con, and I got roped into playing because I didn't want to play because I'm not interested in the 4 whatever X.
Not interested in the theme.
No, I love sci-fi, but not interested in. There's a lot of record keeping in that game, and I wasn't interested in going through the learning exercise in a con with people. And I passed off my role to somebody else who was just a total dipstick who I knew was total dipstick.
No, it's +2. I'm telling you, it's +2.
I saddled this guy with my buddy, and he was not impressed. I have fond memories of Space Empires because I got up and walked away and said, "Oh, Bob's going to take over for me." And he went, "You bastard." And I went to the bar and had a couple of drinks with my buddies and laughed their asses off for hours about that.
No, I like Space Empires. I like all that. There's not much note taking in it, for God's sake.
Just all the production and keeping track of bullshit and wiping. I don't want to do that
at a con. That would not just work at a con. There's too much happening. It's like
there's too much noise and stuff going on, and people are doing stuff, and people get up and they leave for 5 minutes and come back, and you're talking and chatting, and I'm a big celebrity at these cons. So when I turn up, I got to do autographs, sell T-shirts.
It's true. When he came,
people go, "Who's that asshole in the corner with the camera?"
When he made a special trip to BGG-Con a couple of years ago, and we were doing World of War 85 with Lock and Load. He came in and he's sitting down with Keith, and he's going over the whole thing. It was the big thing. It was like, "What's Kev say about World of War 85?" Because
they were just
Kev
was don't hate it.
No. Kev is a big, he's a big critic of the World War 85, meaning like he's a big supporter and, want to get his approval. And, Keith was like, oh my God, please don't hate it. And he loved it. And it was, Kev was kind of in between flights. And that was the first time I met you. Well, that was the second time I met you. First time I met you was when you had your Infidel shirt on at AAC-Con. First one.
Oh,
I was sitting playing OST1. I turned around and said, "Hey, man, I love your shirt." And you're like, "Hey, cheers, mate." And then you went back to your game.
I didn't recognize you. Yeah. That's hilarious. Yeah.
Well,
it's like I walked right past Dave. I'd never seen Dave before either. I went, "Hey," and Dave goes, "Oh, Like, thought I was dissing him or something. I didn't know that.
Well, that's
Oh, he
Dave.
was.
Dave's like this. Let me imitate Dave. He's walking around like this all the time. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And when he talks, he's got his phone out his ear like this, and he doesn't like. He's like, yeah, okay, because he's talking to 40 people at the same time. But yeah, and it was true. And then when you saw World of War 85, you really liked what you saw.
Correct.
That gave Keith a lot of a boost, and so yes, his celebrity is that big.
Well, I mean,
And someday you two will be that big.
Well, here's the
not in
thing.
stature, but in
I listen to Kevin. I listen. I learned
You'll
what
never be as tall as me, Dan.
I know what SOL means and SBF or what
BFF. No, but it's funny how going into that con celebrity thing, it is kind of funny because like everybody knows who you are, Dan, from No Enemies Here, and let's all take a moment here, seriously. I'm not joking. Let's all take a moment and give Dan a big round of applause here, seriously, for what he does with No Enemies Here. It is the only weekly wargaming news network that we have. Seriously.
Yeah.
I'm not being facetious at all.
Okay. Can I
You do an amazing job.
Can I tell you a story?
Sure.
Tell us a story, Dan.
I'm at DC with the Players Aid, right?
Uh-huh.
I love those guys, right? So I'm walking around, and Grant's a nice guy, and he's saying, Dan, hang around with us, this and that. And there's a ranger that came and see.
Then he did their arm wrestling thing.
They came and see Grant and Alexander. And so the ranger is presenting Alexander with his badges and all that. And he's saying, I really appreciate your channel. Here you go. And so Grant, being the gentleman that he is, he says, oh, by the way, Dan has a channel called No Enemies Here. And this ranger looks at me and goes, uh-huh, and continues. So I don't know what you're saying, man. But anyways, thank you very much. That was very nice of you guys. If I was close, I'd give you a hug. But I'd have to stand on a stool because I'd be at a level I don't want to hug you with.
Yeah,
social distancing, please.
Yeah, but here's the thing about your channel, Dan, is that to me, it's very selfless because you're not playing games. Like, I have a lot of fun when I play, and I post stuff that I enjoy posting, and I write about what I like to write about, and I do the shit that I like to do. I don't really do, despite what some people might say, I don't do anything for the community. I really just do it all for me because I'm having a great time doing what I do. You, on the other hand, you troll through all the freaking losers like myself, all their little videos we put out with 1 minute or 4 hours or shaky cam or professionally done, and you find every single wargame video. You have to look at them to know what do they cover. You go find out what the actual name of the game is, because certain assholes use acronyms all the time and don't put the proper names of the games in. And you go do all that work, and you do cover music. You write your own music, and you provide insight and tell us that there's a box and a lid with everything. And I love that.
Thank you very much.
You know what? That is one of the biggest services you provide.
Absolutely.
Dan, seriously, I never knew that every game came with a box and a lid. I thought they were all Ziplocs. Fantastic.
I've been using that all the time, by the way, dude.
Thanks.
And it has a box and a lid.
I appreciate it, but can we stop talking about me and let's start talking about Kevin's butt? Come on.
Wow, there's a man crush again.
No, but you know what, Kevin? The person I spend the most time researching and all
Paddy.
that, and finding out what game he's playing and what system he's playing and what's he talking about, is some guy on the big board, man. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, that guy's a jerk because he assumes everybody knows what he's talking about. You got to follow along, gang. If you're not following along, you don't know your acronyms. You got to go back at RTFM, dog.
You need to start using your text in your videos to say, SCS equals, and then for Dan, you need to have translations.
Life's too short for me to explain it all. Although I don't know if you've noticed on some of my videos now when I start them out, I've been saying, and this is for Dan Pelkeldy. It's the OCS, which is the Operational Combat System.
I appreciate
blah, 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 blah. And it comes with a box and a lid.
Now, you know, this box and a lid, you know, I mean, everything I do is, I swear to God, it starts off spontaneously, because when Compass Games, you see, I mentioned the company here. When I read Compass Games, what you get in the game, this and this and that, and they said a box and a lid, and I thought, well, yeah, yeah, you're gonna get a box and a lid. What are you gonna get? Like, sure, you can have it in Ziploc, but am I making sense here? For God's sakes, it's a box and a lid.
Yeah.
Like what? Like, and if Compass started that, GMT is even doing it now. It's but they're saying boxed. You know, and
boxed and a lid.
Well, no, they're saying boxed.
Boxed in a lid.
So, like, what? Your car comes with tires.
Wow, is this NASCAR?
So was there a joke here or a punchline? I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for it. If it was,
what I gotta say is, I thought that was a little bit like these people are selling a box and a lid.
Yeah, but look at your audience, right? If they looked at the list of contents, and it didn't say that there was a 1d10 and 3d6 and a d8, they would be like, well, do these dice belong here? Oh my gosh, why do I have these dice? There'd be an email, dear GMT, I received 1d10, 3d6, and a d8. I'm not sure they should be here. Should I mail these back to you?
Well, you know what? In their defense, to make a box and a lid is an expense.
$5.
Well, yeah, it is one of those funny things, you know, that people do add in to, you know, fill out the, you know, flesh out, I should say, the contents that we've got a box and we've got 4 player aids and 2 counter sheets and a 20-page rule book and a 10-page player aid, or not player aid, playbook. And what's that?
It's just, I guess I just was taken aback by a box and lid. Player aids, I understand. Dice, I understand. A box and lid, I guess I understand now.
OCD, baby. We're a bunch of crazy ass mofos that are just, we are so weird. I have 2 friends that can appreciate my hobby, and they go, that's great.
Now,
you have people that appreciate your hobby?
I'm afraid to be down here. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned the system, OCD. Is that a DNSig system?
Oh. I'm just going to pretend that you know what that means.
Now, Matt says that Kev's sunny disposition is only rivaled by Callendale's precision of language.
Wow.
Callendale is at a completely different
Callendale's at a completely different level.
plane.
The philosopher king of
He's
war
rather
gaming.
ethereal, you know. I mean,
you can't hate the guy.
No, everybody loves Callendale to some degree.
Yeah, he's like, you know, he's like
He's a trip.
He's like the brother you keep in the basement.
No, he's the Grateful Dead dude of wargaming.
Yeah, I call him the philosopher king of wargaming.
He's the Jerry Garcia of wargames.
There you go.
Oh man, you know,
seriously.
Yeah.
I saw someone call him the stoner immaculate the other day.
You know what? I don't even think he smokes weed, man. Seriously.
No, but he's always on his pipe.
It was all the acid he dropped in the 80s.
The 80s. Wow.
So Stigler wants to know, does Dan purposely mangle German or does it come naturally?
You know, Stigler, I do it to piss you off. I do it to piss you off. And that's how I know you're watching my show, is because I'll screw up some German and then you'll comment on it and I'll say, he's watching my show.
Achtung. Next question.
Oh, it's Achtung. It's not Achtung.
Achtung.
It's not Achtung.
Achtung. Matt says, Kev mentioned he likes sci-fi while he was trashing Space Empires 4X. What sci-fi games does he recommend?
How? What did I trash? I said I don't like
this is the way people interpret your way of talking.
That's not trashing.
He did not trash it. But
this is trashing. Okay, you ready? No.
Yes. What sci-fi games do you like, Kevin?
He didn't make any comment. That's why it was considered trashing, because Kev generally is pretty plain spoken, which I've always appreciated about Kev. Yeah. He's like, yeah, this is kind of shit, you know, and moves on. I mean, it's true. I mean, that's the way he speaks. He's much more, he's less diplomatic than a lot of other of us, a lot of the rest of us are,
Much
which
appreciated.
which is fantastic. But when he doesn't make a comment, everyone goes, "Oh, if he's not saying anything, it's bad." so there you go. You created your own trap.
Freedom of the Galaxy, Ice Wars, Starship Troopers. That would be my top 3. Oh, and then not Herman Luttman. What's the little tiny battles?
Yeah, that's Luttman. You talking about space invaders from Dimension X?
Yeah, fantastic.
That's Luttman.
Invaders from Dimension X, or whatever it's called, is one of the best solo games I've ever played.
Now, hold on,
really?
Kevin. Is it the campy 50s feel that you get for it, or like is it the mechanics? What is it about that game that you, other than Herman Luttman?
Yes.
Yes, what?
All 3.
I forgot.
Great is not okay. Look, let me. I'll use small words and no acronyms. So,
wow.
Boom. First of all, theme is of course amazing with that game, right? It's a fantastic thing. The mechanics, when you talk about a solo game, most solo games fail fail for me, I should say, because they leave you with very few choices to make. And really what you end up being is the die roller for the AI.
Yeah.
Right? So that specific game, you have so many choices to make because you're moving all the units around and doing everything. And then random garbage happens because of these aliens and the way they behave, right?
Once you make your choices, then you're left at the gods when you roll that dice and the pods come down.
Right. And it all fits into the narrative because the way it was set up with the story behind it. So to me, if I was going to pull any, random solo game down and I wanted rich choices, I would do that. If I wanted a really strong narrative, I grab what is that? B-17 Flight Commander or whatever it's called from the old days.
Sure. Queen of the Sky.
Queen of the Sky, right? So, or the remake, right? Those games are great because if you want to imagine what that die roll means, you can do that. You can go, okay, I roll the 6, like when I can't remember his name off the top of my head. The guy that did all the narrative videos about why can't I remember his name? From Puerto Rico.
Stuka Joe.
Stuka Joe.
Stuka Joe, thank you. Stuka Joe did that amazing series of videos, right? And he broke down what happened. And I don't know if you heard that, but that was a loud noise upstairs.
Was that the toilet?
I hope that wasn't a toilet. Someone flushed all the toilet paper. So that game is super rich if you want to connect the die roll to what might have happened and how it happened. Same with Hunters, the sub game.
Build a narrative in your brain.
Build a narrative for you. I don't like doing the work to build the narrative on those types of things. I like the narrative to evolve from the gameplay. And I guess I can see it more clearly with other games than those types of games. So coming back to the solo stuff, or coming back to that specific game we're talking about, Dimension X, that to me is a great sci-fi game, a great solo game.
This is very endearing to me, Kevin, that you come down to my level and play games like Dimension X and...
What do you mean, come down?
Kev's kind of tall.
So rude.
You know what I'm saying? No, Kevin, you're getting me all fuzzy,
But it's not about complexity, right? I don't like complexity for complexity's sake.
It has to match the
goal
of the game. Yeah.
Like Mo plays a lot of games, and he plays a wide range of games as well. It's just sometimes I bite off more than I can chew, and other times you need something simple, and you're curious about a topic, so you go buy 2 or 3 games on a topic to see how they handle it, and what's the designer's intent behind that, and does it represent the history fairly, and do I have real choices, or is it on the rails, and all that sort of fun stuff.
Well, before we go into that, the something that Kev just brought up, Stigler wants to know: did Dan wait a minute. I can't do it like you do. Actually, kick you in the nads, and is that where you get the herniated name call?
No, it's a stereotypic German thing that I have in my head. World War II, when you call out your soldier or something. What the
You
guy
said German. Now Uwe needs to appear.
Heinemann.
Wow. You know,
I did text Uwe to see if he wanted to join us, but he hasn't joined us yet. So
Oh, too bad, man. I got a kink in my neck. You know, I got to listen over and do this.
but going back to what you were saying about playing different games and the narrative and stuff, there was a game I've mentioned this before, but it was really cool in my head when I was playing it. And that's one of the things about games that is really cool is the story, the theater of the mind that it generates.
Mm-hmm.
And I was playing the Lock and Load Technical. I gotta look. Heroes Against the Red Star. I had to look at it. Heroes Against the Red Star, and the Germans were, in a really bad spot. Not Germans, the Russians were in a really bad spot. They had to get across a road that was just covered by a tank and like a sniper or a machine gun, a machine gun or something like that. They get across, and like the squad gets decimated, and then one guy, just because of the role, turns into a hero. Yes. So I remember tweeting it out because I was tweeting this game. I was like, my hashtag Friday Night Fights. And I was like, oh, Private Yevgeny sees his platoon get slaughtered. And he grabs the survivors and rallies them and brings them into this building. And literally this did happen. He went into the building and they just like decimated the Americans that were in there. And he he becomes a hero of the Rodinia and he runs in and he destroys all these guys. And it was just so cool, that moment of just rolling the dice and seeing again that creating that narrative due to the great design.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people like ASL, right? Because they
Sure.
all the die rolls and all the special rules build the story in their mind for them.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, you're teaching me something here, Kevin, because I thought ASL, because I'm intimidated by ASL, it's a very strict tactical game, meaning that you do this is what happens. I mean, obviously there are variants with the die roll, but there's no such. I'm gonna eat poop for this. There's no narrative in ASL.
Oh, huge narrative.
No, huge narrative. Yeah. Most every tactical game, even Band of Brothers, and I don't mean this in a degradation sense, because Band of Brothers is one of my least favorite tactical games. But I don't mean it to knock it. It's just even Band of Brothers has a narrative in there.
Okay.
And the reason I say even that has a narrative is because the thing that turned me off of Band of Brothers, it is a good system. It is also very basic. It's find, fix, flank, finish. Every engagement.
Yep, same deal, right?
It's the same thing. Find them, fix them, flank them, you finish them.
Now, is there something wrong with that?
It's not when it's World War II, because World War II, that was the standard infantry tactics of the time.
Okay.
So in that regard, it is good. But from a gamer standpoint, it's like it becomes redundant to me.
You do the same thing over and over again. The only way to be successful is to conform to the mechanics of the game system.
Yes.
Now, there are many, many games that do that. Lock and Load does that, right? You can, if you don't shake them and then kill them, which is the same as fixing them and killing them, right? You don't flank them in that game, but you shake them and kill them. You shake them and melee them. Same deal. So you got to have a mega stack to attack with, just in case you can't shake them, right? You shake and bake them. ASL has its own peculiarities. Combat Commander has its own peculiarities. You've got to disorder those guys or shake them and then assault them, assuming you have the right cards and things of that nature. So every game has its peccadillos in that way, but I think some games represent so much conformity that you don't get to feel like you're exploring or doing something different.
You're not getting anything. You're not getting the kitchen sink thrown at you, which is what happens.
You just don't get the. You just don't get the flavor. You don't get, if you're doing the same thing all the time.
Sure, you're gaming the system
5 or 10 times, then it's boring, right? Whereas I don't get that with Lock and Load.
Okay, I'm a little confused here. As opposed to what? Like basically, your thing is to to suppress your enemy, flank them, and kill them. I mean, in all
Sure.
wars, no?
Sure.
But in every
sure.
engagement is that way. It becomes like almost like a video game. When you learn the pattern of a video game, you go like, I do this, I do this, I do this, I move to the next level. And then I get to the boss, and then I beat the boss, and I have to find the pattern for the boss, and then I beat him, and then I move to the next level.
Okay.
That's where it becomes
Right.
repetitive and boring.
And so that's where really good scenario design will overcome
Yes.
the mechanical restrictions of a game. So I'll use Lock and Load because I've played that at a tactical squad level more than any other game, probably 100 plus 120 sometimes.
Damn.
The scenario designs from the earlier modules were so finely tuned. There you go. Good stuff.
Black label, baby.
That it
Black
gave
barrel.
you or forced upon you some different choices that need to be made based on the victory conditions and the way the scenarios was designed. And many of them ended up being very close competitions. Whereas I find with Band of Brothers, I just know that, okay, I'm sure there's some victory conditions, but there's a
Pattern.
there's more pattern and less puzzle to solve.
Yeah.
So basically, you want a little bit of chaos. You want a little bit of fog of war involved.
Absolute friction. Combat is all friction.
So when the the lock and load system, and I spoke to David about this, when there's in the scenarios it says don't read up to here, then when you get to this point, something happens. There's I mean, I enjoyed that very
Event
much.
tables, yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that very much. Is that what you're looking for?
No.
That's not what you're looking for.
No. And all of those event table things, I would rather that be a D6 with 5 or 6 different or 3 or 4 different things, so there's not the same thing every time. Because once you've played it, you're done, right? And now you need to know, okay, I don't want to get in the line of sight of that hex because I know the bad guys are going to get 2 more bad guys. So hell with that, right?
It's like ambush.
Mo hit it. There you go. Theater of the mind, right?
Theater of the mind.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing about when we're playing these games. The Hunters or the Hunted or any of those games. Queen of the Skies, B-17's Queen of the Skies. You are everyone. Ranger is another good one. Ranger is a great example of that.
Yep.
Because it's an RPG of the mind. You are literally playing that game out, and you are using like legitimate patrol tactics that you learn. Everybody learns in boot camp if you go in the military. These are legitimate boot camp, not boot camp, but patrol tactics about pauses and movements and security and things like that you learn. And then when you get on target and you are preparing to assault, all these things happen, but it's also paragraph driven, which can get a little. I mean, it's one of those things where no one has created the perfect system yet, because there is no perfect system. The only perfect system you can get seriously is write your name on a dotted line, sign up, go enlist, and go experience it. Because it'll training and combat are when they throw you into different types of training things, they throw different things at you to try to I guess prepare and kind of, I don't want to say numb you to it, but prepare you to respond, not react. Because when you react, you're behind the OODA loop that everybody talks about. You're trying to catch up. When you respond, you're keeping in pace, and then you're trying to interrupt the OODA loop, so that way you can take the initiative back. And the only way to do that is through repetitive training, and then they throw everything at you, the kitchen sink and everything else. And that's one thing that games really can't do, because the only way to do it is, like Kev said, is you have to have a table of things to say, hey, this happens this time. This you just ran out of ammo, or your weapons jam or something like that. That will frustrate a lot of gamers because they feel like they're out of control. If you're out of control, you're playing the game right. Okay, that's the way the design should be, because combat is out of your control.
I've got 2 questions. One, Fields of Fire. Yes, no?
Not played it yet. Haven't not played it yet.
Watched it played. Looks interesting. Don't want to do the work.
Now, Mo,
I do want to do the work. I just don't have the time yet.
Now, you being a Marine and have gone through all that training, is there any way you can convey those ideas or that experience or yourself to design a system like that? Is it possible?
It is, but it is, but the only way to really do it, I think, is, going back to Fields of Fire. Because you look at that level of complexity, that level of detail, to get that, you really do have to do the work. The only other way to do it would be have a really big table of chaotic events, because, not for anything, I know it's kind of a family friendly show, but shit happens. And it's just the way it does.
Okay.
You can go down, you could be going on patrol, and somebody's weapon jams, or somebody just screws up. Somebody slips on a rock entering a room. And, when you should have the element of surprise, you lose the element of surprise. And your target then gets the element of surprise back. They take it away from you. And then you're fighting to regain the initiative. So it's one of those things where, tactical is one of those levels that I love the most, because of the fact that I feel at the tactical level, you have an attachment to, you should have an attachment to your troops, and you should also have an investment into the gameplay, because it's just chaotic. When you're playing at that God level, operational view, it's like, oh yeah, well, I know these guys need this many supply, and these guys need this many supply. It's a mathematical equation, which it is for the, commander at that level. They're not down on the ground. They're not fighting the individual battle.
So how can it be to sit down and write 1,000, what did you call it? My God.
Random events.
Random events.
How hard can that be? I can do that.
It could be difficult, and also depends on the gamer. What do they want out of a system?
Right.
What do you want as a designer to give out of a system? And
about a realistic type game,
how much do you want to charge?
Yeah. Well, and how much,
how much time do you want to invest? How much time does the gamer want to invest? How much time do you want to spend? Kev made a good point. He said he has not made the investment yet in time, and I agree with Fields of Fire.
Right.
It is a pretty deep investment of time, because the rules are kind of convoluted. They've not really cleaned those up. It's a shame, because it from all the things I've heard, it is a great system, but it does suffer from, not correct or not really good explanation, which is a shame. And then that's why I want to explore the system. I just haven't had the time yet.
Well, and talking about rules, I mean, I don't know if it was Ben Hull who wrote the rules, okay, because there's always a developer, but
he did.
He did wrote the rules.
Yep.
Maybe it's not the right guy to write the rules, man. Maybe he just should have.
Well, that's been proven 3 times, right?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So
Musket and Pike, and that other system he did, swords and whatever, and this game.
So okay. So I don't know what the issue is with that, but there's a GMT game called Enemy Coast Ahead, Jeremy White. Now, he writes rules for someone like me, basically saying, this is your nose. You have snots on your nose. Here's your finger. Pick your nose.
Pick your nose.
No, but that's, and for me, it's beautiful. Beautiful. That's the way I want to learn how to play. And everything is modular.
One of the best games like that, Enemy Coast Ahead, is great. Skies Above the Reich. You will sit there, don't even read the rules. Set up the game, read the rules, it'll walk you through it, just like Enemy Coast Ahead.
So
it holds your hand through every step.
Am I wrong in saying that this guy, Jeremy White, knows how to write a rule book?
It depends. It is really situational, depending on what you're trying to teach. Skies Above the Reich. Right? Yeah, exactly. Skies Above the Reich and Enemy Coast Ahead is something that holds your hand through each step of whatever you're playing.
Right.
And then it expands it into like the planning phase and the overall, operational phase.
Right.
And that's great, because what you want to do is, and I love those systems. Skies Above the Reich has one of the best rule books, as does Enemy Coast Ahead, because it gets you right into playing. And that's one of the biggest things as a designer, a developer, you want to do is get somebody right into playing it.
Beautiful.
You don't want to sit there and say, okay, I need to spend, couple days or a week or whatever, reading through 30 to 80 pages of rules. No, hell no. The way I always learn a game, I set the game up, I open a rule book, and I try to read the rules and play the game. To me, as a gamer, if I can't do that, I don't want to say this, easily, but it's almost kind of a fail. It's not a total fail, but it's almost a fail. Now, there are some things that are procedural where you have to set up the game and then follow the procedures. Next War Series is a great example. You have to follow the procedures. And when you get through it, you're like, oh, yeah, no, now it totally makes sense. But if you can say, okay, set up the games, Victory Point Games is a great example of this. Set up the game. Here's your step, step 1, step 2, step 3. Move on and just play the game. It walks you through the game. You can just jam through it, and that's fine. And then after like 1 or 2 turns, you're like, oh, now I know it. Let me reset and play.
Well, is it because we're getting older and we have responsibilities and this and that? Because when
we're getting older,
I can only speak for myself. When I was younger, learning music, give me all the technical issues, and I'm gonna get into it, and I'm gonna learn this technique and this and that. But as I'm getting older, it's like
the sponge dries out.
Oh man, no, it's not.
It's true. Am I right?
Come on, guys. Come on.
So I got to go back here. We kind of missed a couple here.
Yeah, there's quite a few questions popping in here.
Yeah, I want to get back to the audience interaction. How do you guys dive into a new system or new game system playthrough with your designer examples, or dive into a scenario to test the rules? What are your personal processes? I kind of touched on that already. So Kev, your turn.
Briefly, I will read designer notes first. I will then check out the maps and the counters. Then I will skim read, fast read the rules. Then I will probably, just for the sake of time, I'll probably just jump in and get after it and play the full campaign. Or if it's a beastie, I might, like I'm doing with Battle for Normandy, I'll play the Omaha, a smaller scenario, play a few turns of it, and then get straight into it from there.
So you read the designer rules first.
Designer notes first, yeah, sure. Well, because where's the guy come from? What's he trying to achieve? What are we doing? And if there aren't any, that's fine. But I like to do that just because it's kind of cool. I got into that with Dean Essig and all his systems because they have big sets of designer notes and playtest notes. I don't read the how to play the game notes, try and do this, because I find most of the time they don't work for me, or things like they suggest you do don't work out very well.
Well, it's biased on their behalf.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So I just ignore those, but I like to read what the designer has to say.
That's interesting, Kevin.
Then Matt asks, what was the game where Patton recruited the leftover Germans and marched on the Soviets? Anybody remember? I don't.
What?
Hypothetical.
I do recall where Patton did say that if we grab the German, prisoners of war or whatever, and go after the Soviets, because he wanted to go after the Soviets right away. He knew they were the next threat for the United States.
Well, I mean, that's a hypothetical situation, absolutely, right?
No, that was actually a real situation. So I don't know what the game was that modeled that. I
don't know, but was it Eisenhower who pussied out?
No.
We don't use that word. We don't use that word on this channel.
Excuse me. Did Eisenhower cat out?
Cat out. Then the Bluetooth is Alan says, what is the best tactical narrative, or the best tactical narrative for him is Fields of Fire.
There you go.
Well, Blue Tweezer, and I know where you got those tweezers anyways. You got that from a first aid box. So anyways, whatever. I'm just saying. Just to let you know, Ben
better than Gimpy's giant tweezer. He has like 8-inch tweezers. It's like, jeez.
Anyways.
Those are tongs. They're not tweezers, they're tongs.
Yeah, my wife's got a few of those. But anyways, what was I going to say? You distracted me, Mo, for God's sake. Oh, Ben Hull. Blue Tweezer. Ben Hull is doing a Battle of the Bulge Fields of Fire.
You know what would be nice is if instead of like moving on to the next scenario or the next theater, I should say, if he actually supported the game better. And that is one criticism I will give a designer is when they kind of, abandon a title and move on to the next, sales point.
People beat on Ben really hard, and sometimes for good reason. And then he gets, he either has thin skin or gets tired of it and walks away. And I could completely understand that. But if it was me and I want to sell a whole lot more of that system, I would double down and fix the freaking rule book first of all, and then go from there. And when it's fixed, I'll think about. I almost pulled the trigger on the Marine module, and I just I'm not going to do it.
That's the one I got because the first one I'd heard a lot of good things about, but with the caveat, but you need to put a lot of effort into it. So I got with the old breed, I was like, well, that's like a gimme. I got to buy that.
Yeah.
But it still is not 100%. It's still pretty much the same as it was before. And it's a shame because this system, and Ben's a Marine.
Yeah.
So, it's a shame that he's not like investing putting the effort into evolving something that really, if he wanted to, he could actually take this to the, to the Marines themselves, to the Marine War College, and use that as a training tool for the NCOs and above.
Right.
As a great way to learn how to conduct,
smaller unit
exactly,
right?
Exactly.
So absolutely.
I just met Ben once, and my assessment of the person was that he's a very mild-mannered man and soft-spoken.
WBC.
Yeah, exactly, at WBC. I love WBC, and you know what? I think it's going to be canceled this year.
I think everything's going to be canceled at this point.
And
that's why.
And
except BGG Con. Kev, you going to BGG Con?
Yeah.
No?
What are you talking about BGG Con?
Dude, it's in Dallas. You're in Austin. Come on up. I'll buy you whiskey.
Okay, hold on. I'm lost here. Why is BGG Con not canceled?
Well, it's in November.
Oh.
So
A, it's in November, and B, it's in Texas, and C, we don't give a rat's ass.
There you go. I'm just about to ask Kevin. Why don't you go, Kevin? Maybe I'll go. You can meet me. We can.
Look.
You're going to come all the way to the ass end of the United States.
The wargame room has about 16 people in it, and there are 40,000 very odd individuals who I don't need to hang out with in the rest of the place, and I just don't care to be there.
Kev is just saying to all the audience, I don't want to talk to you.
I don't want to go through the hassle of trying to organize, super tight schedules and play lock-in games and stuff like that.
Schedule.
Wow, is it that?
Well, it's a lot of work. You got to book crap months in advance, and life changes. So I don't go to a lot of cons. I go to that advanced after combat stuff because it's a private group of 20 guys, and we get together and everyone changes everything at the last minute. So I don't mind turning up there and playing whatever because I kind of know some or all of the guys now, and I could leave when I want to and not really piss anybody off. So,
which Kev, next time you come to the AAC con, you got to let me know. Because
I will.
I only went once, and I've not because I really don't.
I'm going to the St. Louis one.
But why can't you do that at the BGG con? Why can't you just drop in?
A, because I don't know anybody. B, I don't want to. I don't.
Hello.
Hello. Well. I mean, I know you. I would go and play games with you, right? I'm not sure I want to pay what is needed to be paid to go to that con and sit in a tiny dark room with no light.
No, different location now.
Okay, whatever. Okay, maybe it is. I'm just not sure that. I'm not sure that wargaming is a priority there. Eurogaming, Ameritrash, and RPGs and LARPing or whatever the hell else they do there. That's fantastic. God bless them. Have a huge con.
But I hear they have open bar.
I don't think
what?
So.
No, you're talking out your ass now.
How much?
Because if they had open bar, I'd be there every night.
How much is the BGG? How much is it?
150.
American.
Yeah.
Which
is like 7,000 Canadian.
Yeah.
And
no, it's 150. Just went on sale today. I bought my ticket. And I'm hoping to the wargame group over there at BGGCon has really started to grow. And the problem is last year was they had an area, but they did not concentrate or stay in the area. And hopefully this year we can. And that's where I want to get Kev to show up and, kind of get everybody to just show up, play, and, hang out and hang with the biggest celebrity on
Yeah,
YouTube.
but I was gonna say for $150, what are they going to invite Mark Herman or something at that price?
No,
We got Mark Herman here for free.
5 days. 5 days, dude.
Look.
It's a 5-day con.
Look, Mark Herman's here.
It's actually
Mark
a
Herman's
6-day
here for
con.
free.
Is
I
Mark
don't
here?
want to be.
Is Mark
I
here?
don't want to play. I don't want to play war games with people for 5 days straight. I don't want to do that. I don't like people enough to be around them that long.
Come out to San Diego then. Go to Harold's Con. SD Hist.
Yeah, you
Great,
don't have
great.
to be there that long, Kevin.
You can hang out with me and Tom and Nick. We'll play
Yeah,
SD Stalingrad 42.
Okay. That's why I like going to Game On, for instance. I know all those guys up there.
I've never been.
I've been 7 out of 9 or 8 out of 9 times.
Then again, I've only been to one AAC con because I'm not in the,
in the group. Well,
exactly. I don't.
It is a private con, right?
Yeah, it's very cliquish.
Look,
You got to be invited.
In Montreal, we have something called Stack Academy, where there's about maybe 100 people, and they're all having fun. And
There's only 100 people in Montreal.
What? Can you not disrupt me while I'm talking? I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
Squirrel.
So Dan, try and pay attention, try and channel, focus. There we go. There it is. Why don't you say hi to Mr. Herman, say hi to Mark Herman, and tell him that you're getting a free copy of his game.
Mark Herman, I'm getting a free copy of your game.
Mark says something sucked. I missed that.
What BG Con, I think.
Oh, actually, Mark, what I'm trying. Kevin is sending me your Waterloo game because he was oohing and eyeing about it, but he didn't want to go on. He didn't want to gush, and he's actually going to pay for the game for me and the shipping. He said.
I actually think I said I'd pay for the game for you, or the shipping, one of the two.
Okay, I'll pay for the shipping.
No, I'll pay for the shipping. No.
Now, Mark says that what did he say? Which one do you want? Is what he was saying here.
Which one do I want? What?
Waterloo 1815 is what you want.
Yeah, Waterloo. Sorry. Yeah, that's what Kevin suggested strongly.
Great game, by the way, Mark. Well done.
Mark, we were talking about you in a little bit of, they asked Frank Zappa once. They asked Frank Zappa.
We go from Mark Herman to Frank Zappa.
Well, it's the same thing.
He's a Frank Zappa wargaming.
No, hold on. Same thing here. Mark, I think he understands me. They asked Frank Zappa if he was a genius. And Frank Zappa, being very critical, actually said, well, maybe. So, Mark, I'm going to ask you. And I said, there's a little bit of genius in these designers, and especially a guy like Mark Herman, who can make a game so simple, but yet so deep, like in Waterloo. So, Mark, in all honesty, and you don't have to be humble and all that, but would you consider yourself a little bit of a genius, Mark? You know what I'm saying?
I'll say it. Mark's a genius.
I would say so, but that's why I'm asking Mark. And it's funny because a genius will not answer except Frank Zappa. Mark, we're waiting.
Way to put the guy on the spot.
No, I know.
We were having a great conversation, and now you've killed the audience.
No, but the guy. I mean, seriously, it takes a lot of skill, a lot of life to bring something down to an incredible simplicity, but still have depth in it. There's a lot of meat in it, but the melody is so simple. La 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 la. You know what I'm saying?
There's that music thing again.
Mark said he's not a genius. He just got lucky. But you know what? Let's keep things in perspective here.
I mean,
Mark is one of the best designers we've got in our lifetime. Seriously. And he's a really cool guy. And he's what's that? Oh, I thought you were saying something.
No, I said, yup.
No, he really is. And he's a really cool guy. And I've had the privilege of sitting and chat with him multiple times. And it is just he's like all of us. He's a war gamer that just wants to, expand his own knowledge, expand his own experience, right. And he just has the smarts to do it that where the rest of us just don't know how to translate it into a game as well as he does.
He just doesn't have the smarts. He can actually speak layman's terms. It's like Feynman, the physicist.
Mark agrees with you.
No, but it's like Feynman, the physicist. He brought physics to a colloquial level, now I understand.
Dan, I think that's a great analogy, Dan. But really, the fact that Mark could design a game that you can play, I think speaks more highly than anything that you could say. So we could just, nice job, Mark. Well done. Excellent.
Well, you put me in my place, and I accept it.
John says Beethoven was a genius. Zappa made songs that were weird and I don't like.
Who said that?
John.
Okay, John. Don't tell me where you live, okay?
Robert says Mark Herman is a super cool person. I can't even speak English right now. He is a super cool person, and yes, absolutely, Mark is super cool.
I'm jealous. All you guys have met him. I haven't. I need to get my backside back up to New York.
Go to San Diego.
I listen to you, man. You're one of my guys. You're a milestone in my life, Kevin.
What are you talking about?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, Mark. This was going great till you turned up, but don't leave.
Robert says, Dan, the interview you did with Mark at WBC was terrific. It had something to do with Scotch.
Okay, well, let me tell you, Robert, I did nothing. It was Mark. I said, so Mark, what do we do? And Mark said, just put the camera there and turn it on. And I said, okay. And that was it. That was it. So it was just sitting in a bar and having a drink type thing. And that's it. It was just like that, man.
Now, let me say something here. Now, I say this, and it almost kind of sounds like, and I don't mean this in any disrespect, but it is almost a joke the way I say it, but it's true. All you got to do is ask a question and give Mark a microphone.
Beautiful.
He will tell you the most awesome story ever because he is a great storyteller.
Beautiful.
Not only in like a video or like an interview. I did interview with him at San Diego Historical Games Convention. That was a lot of fun. Just sitting with him and talking with him, or you can just give him a microphones, ask a question, boom, he'll tell you a story, and it will paint a picture. He is just a natural storyteller.
Yeah, yes. Teacher.
Yes, I have a question for Mark actually. So Mark, and feel free to answer or not as the case may be. Your game, The Next War, World War III, hypothetical, designed in the mid to late 70s. The interesting thing was, did we just lose Dan? We lost Dan.
No, he's just
he just muted. Okay. But Under an Iron Sky came out recently, and I'm wondering if you either A, obtained a copy, or B, if you did, have you played it, and do you have thoughts and impressions in terms of its reimagination of your system? And I know that's probably hard for you to type an answer there, but just curious if you have opinions or are aware of the game. I believe you are aware of it.
He's probably aware, but he may not be as aware as somebody who has gotten it.
So Thin Red Line games, I think they're called. But anyway, if you haven't heard of it, that's all good too. But
we need to play that sometime. I have still not sat down to play it.
It's good fun. It's interesting. It's very different.
It's deep. It's deep though.
Yeah.
83 pages of rules.
Okay. Good answer. Okay. Well, I need to work out how to get you a copy then. I need to talk to Fabrizio and see if he's got scrape some pieces together for you. Well, yeah, there you go. He didn't get a copy, so no opinion. Yeah. We the people. I'm trying to think. I've only played a handful of turns of that game. Have you played?
No, I have not played it yet. Unfortunately, it is not one of the ones I've played yet.
So, Mark, when are you going to announce the Pacific War with GMT? It's got to be any day now, right?
Ooh.
Right, Mark?
Make it happen.
Yes.
Make it happen.
We're dying here for a reprint of that game.
I know Kev has a. Did you rebuy the copy or you buy a used copy?
I have. Are you referring to War of the Pacific or the Pacific War?
War in the Pacific.
I got the new DG thing. Yeah, that's a mess. But April announcement. There we go.
Ooh, some coronavirus, scoop here. Nice.
Very cool. He's on lockdown.
Anthony says Pericles is mine, but EOTS is right there as well. And as a matter of fact, Mark is playing a Mark versus the World EOTS over on Constant World. So if you've not joined in on that, you might want to join in.
Oh, that's very cool. I'll have to go check that out.
He did that at Harold's Con a couple of years ago, where he did a what was that one? Mark, you're gonna have to help me out here. What was the one we played everybody at the con? You played like 10 people at the con about 3 years ago at San Diego.
Like the 10 game setup, or
he had 10 games. It literally was like Bobby Fischer. He had 10 games set up, and he was going, "I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this." It was so cool. I was watching it going, it was South Pacific. That was it. That was South Pacific that Mark did. And it was just like, holy crap. That's like, no disrespect. That's like idiot savant shit. Yeah. I mean, it's like,
that's going to be crazy. That's going to be crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I totally don't mean any disrespect. It was like, holy crap. How can you keep track of every game? But he's like moving like, oh, I'm going to do this. 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 And he's doing the same with Empire, or similar with Empire of the Sun, which is pretty cool for, people like me who've never gotten had a chance to play it yet, and, want to play it. And depending on what goes on with work, maybe I'll have the time to do it. And Dan is back, but hopefully I'll be able to sit down and play EOTS, because, Mark says all the time, it's really not hard. I can teach you in 5 minutes or 15 minutes. I don't know how you can teach that game in 15 minutes.
I don't know about that, man. But sometimes I pick up a card and go, what am I doing? Why? What do I do with this card? Should I save this for later? Should I use it now? Who knows?
There was Tony Costa. I met him.
Are you eating more cheese?
No, I'm eating a pepperoni sausage.
What?
I met Tony Costa WBC. I fell in love with the guy, one, because he's Italian. And he says, Dan, you amuse me. I amuse you how, Tony? I'm here to make you laugh. Hey, I'm here to amuse you. That sausage.
Don't choke on that sausage. We need you.
Okay. So that's all I wanted to tell Tony.
Haha, funny. Like I amuse you. What am I, a clown?
By the way, Tony, I did that thing for you.
Kev's never seen Goodfellas.
I think I've seen most of it, not all of it. I'm not a big violent movie guy.
What? You're not a violent guy, but you
play war games. You're not a violent guy.
I don't like gory, nasty, intense movies like that.
What's gory about stabbing a guy in the trunk?
That's what I'm saying, dog.
Ah, come on, man.
Mark says Goodfellas.
Disney guy.
I still have bad dreams about Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, Mr. Pink.
Yeah.
That's a great movie.
Yep.
You know what's another good movie? I'm going to tell you guys a war movie that a lot of people have not seen. Taegukgi.
I saw it.
You saw Taegogi?
That's brutal, brutal, brutal. Two brothers.
Yes, yes. It is. I call it the South Korean Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, it's wicked, wicked.
Great movie. If you've not seen Taegogi, I'll put it in the chat.
I think
It is a what's that?
Taegogi.
Taegogi. It is the Brotherhood of War in Korean.
When you say stuff like that, you're making my Google Home go off. It's like I can't understand you right now.
I think I may have misspelled it. I think it's TII, but it is. Yeah, it is a really, really a good movie. It is about two brothers, and they, the North invades the South in Korea, and then what happens is they kind of, and we got Nate here. Let's join Nate in. The two brothers join in, or not join. That's Nate. They get into the war, and the one brother, he's like so obsessed with protecting his one brother. He goes and fights for the North. You have to see the movie to see how that happens, but it kind of goes back from present day to not to Vietnam, but the Korean War, and it goes back and forth a little bit, and it is very emotional. It really grips you as a story, and it is a movie well worth watching, even if you are not a fan of watching movies that are translated with subtitles. Definitely watch a movie. They're fantastic battle scenes, really brutal, and just engaging. Great engaging story.
I'll have to check it out, but the gore level will probably cause a lot of fast forwarding.
Well, I mean the gore level, yeah. It's a very realistic war movie.
Yeah, Daddy doesn't need to see that. Daddy understands it, and Daddy appreciates
Yeah, Stigler has seen it. He knows the scene with the maggots, but it's beyond that. It's the emotional draw of the story.
Right.
That just, I mean, the actors they got for it really drew you in. You were like, oh man, it's just like rips at your heart.
When he meets
it's set in World War II?
No,
Korea.
Korea.
When he meets his brother in battle, and his brother is so psyched out in fury to kill, he doesn't know he's fighting with his brother. Man, wicked.
Excuse me, John. You know this is a war game channel. What are you talking about Steel Magnolias for? Trevor has a meme. I did not see it.
Was it on Facebook? I might have missed it.
I guess so. Hey, Mark, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time, buddy.
And big news there, announcement on the Pacific War in April. Thanks for playing.
April. That is the election results tonight. It'll be War in the Pacific in April.
What are you guys talking about?
Never mind. It's a war game thing.
Okay.
You've not been keeping up.
Yeah, Dad wouldn't know anything about that.
Hey, Nate, where you been, man?
You just came in,
dude. Wait, hold on. What the hell happened to your hair, Nate?
I always do that.
No, it's not been that short.
Yeah, I always just cut it all.
That short.
I just let it grow out for a week or two, and then I shave it all off. I don't have to impress anybody. Plus, I think it gives me like a tougher look.
It gives me a nouveau Taliban look.
No, not a Taliban look. Not that bad.
Wrong words.
No.
Wrong words. Inappropriate comment number 3.
Nate, come on. It's me talking.
3.
Look, come on. I called him a hobbit. I think we're even.
I don't have hairy feet.
That was generous.
to the hobbits?
Kevin, man.
Matt says Steel Magnolia sounds like a Battle of the Bulge movie.
I think Matt needs to ease up on the wacky weed.
Sherman's March to the Sea.
All these comments and stuff, and now it's just gone downhill.
Sherman's March to the Sea, which is both a well-executed military operation and at the same time terrible. It's both when you look at it from at least an American perspective.
What am I missing?
Catch up, man. Hit the ground running.
100 different things going on here, man.
Look, a squirrel.
Squirrel.
What do you? What did you? I didn't hear a question.
Uh-oh.
I feel like I missed something.
No. It's been a little crazy tonight. Dan got a little out of hand. Got a haircut. Turn your head to one side, Dan.
Oh, no. Don't do that.
Oh my God.
Oh, my eye.
Did you do that on purpose?
Yeah.
His daughter did.
Like, seriously, I'd pay for this?
You get a free bowl of soup with that haircut?
His daughter hates him.
Dan, just like this, buddy. Just take it all off. There's a point at which you just got to surrender and say, I give up.
Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Exactly.
You're almost there, buddy.
Yeah, don't do
Okay.
this.
All right.
See, mine's not natural. Mine's just decided.
You know what? Hey, what we have had some minor conversations about war games on and off, but are you playing anything of note on lockdown time? Is this are you able to play games at will, or are you still having to do work that doesn't relate to wargaming?
Were you asking that to me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Nate.
Oh, no, I can pretty much do a little bit of, everything. I've got a couple of projects in the works that I'm working with Lock and Load on. I actually just delivered one to them, the Lock and Load tactical game. I did the boot camp series on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I created a miniature boot camp series for the digital game. So it's getting ready to release on Steam.
Right.
So I created the tutorials for that. So that's actually going to be embedded into the game. David was actually linking them onto Facebook, showing off a couple of them. But that was a short series.
Yeah, I saw some of that.
Unfortunately, he liked it. So he wants me to do it for...
How's that a bad thing?
It's just more work. It's more tutorials. He really wants to do this with like all of his games, and I get it because it gives him something he can tout that not many other people have.
Right.
But it just puts a lot of work on my plate.
Yeah,
So-
it does. Hey, have you played much with that American Civil War game, PC game that they brought out?
I have it, but I have not. Yeah, that's actually one of the next projects. The one Mo's holding up.
Nice.
That's actually the project that I was talking to David about doing next. But the only problem is unlike Lock and Load Tactical, where I've got a big background, I've got a big history with it. I don't have that. Yeah, I don't have the history with the other one, and this one is purely a video game. I mean,
Yes.
it's a war game, right? But it doesn't have a board game component, so I have no history, no background.
Yeah, it's I just found it a little I found it a little jarring jumping into that as a playtester, having a look at that. It's like, whoa, wait, what's going on here? There was really no hints or help about what was going on there. So,
Well, that's what he wants me to create.
okay, yeah, well, it definitely needs it. Hopefully later tonight I'm going to get on and play a little bit more, but it's a bit of a mess.
I agree with you. When I sat down with it and started trying it, it looks interesting. Civil War isn't really a big area that I'm interested in.
Right.
But when I was looking at the game, there wasn't a whole lot that was kind of explaining what was going on. And I think the opponent, the enemy, was taking their turn first. And I was like, wait, what are they doing? They're moving shit everywhere.
That's what blew me away. I was like, whoa, wait. I mean, I'm clicking and trying to, what's up? What?
Yeah. And I was like, I don't even know which side I am on this. And I understand they're still fleshing things out. It's not finalized
And
yet.
for everybody, Lock and Load's releasing a PC game called Victory and Glory, the American Civil War. Not out yet. You can go, if you go talk to David Heath, you can get a key for it and play test as long as you put 5, 10, 15 hours in and provide some feedback. But so it's pretty solid, and it's more, I'll call it's point to point and resource management and combat. So I think that will be and there's some cards to play and bits and pieces like that. So CDG assisted, I think I would call it, maybe driven, I don't know, but assisted, I think is probably the best word to use.
And obviously there is no tutorial, no how-to because it hasn't been created yet.
Yeah, it'll be cool when you do those. That'll be very helpful, I think.
It's kind of like Labyrinth. There's kind of a tutorial.
Labyrinth, don't even get me started. So Trial of Strength. Yeah, we're waiting on that, man. I still have an unpunched copy of the original, but I haven't played.
What hell?
Unpunched copy of the original, but you have not gotten you've not played it, but you're waiting on the second edition.
Well, I think the copy I got didn't come
It's
with.
from one of your countrymen.
I know.
What the hell?
I haven't.
Mo, what's the scale of Trial of Strength?
Big.
Yeah, it's pretty large.
It's,
I've got a
it's
roll.
operational.
Look at the size of the box.
Man.
Wait a second. How do you have a copy of the box? What are you doing? Are you going to play test copy? I hate you. Have you played it yet?
Well, it is a
It's the prototype copy. I think yours is
prototype.
actually more production than mine is, though.
Yeah, I did a video on it because Dave is like, "Hey, you're gonna here, take over the project." Okay.
Sounds like Dave.
So I was like, all right. At the tail end, I'm like, okay. So I'm kind of like scrambling to get everything together. And I mean, it's done. It's just that it's been going on for a couple of years. And he's like, we need to get this done. So I'm like, all right, everybody, let's go and get it done and just put it all together. Because the problem is, everyone was kind of doing their pieces, but no one, I think they were lacking direction.
No one brought it all together. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was the thing. So I kind of just said,
Recipe for a mistake, right?
put it all together and be done with it. And that's where we're at now. So it should be on Kickstarter, but with everything going on with this coronavirus, it is kind of delayed a lot of things in life for everybody. So we'll have to wait and see when that will go. I mean, the plan was, within a week or two. So should have been this week or next week. So we'll see. Kev, you have nothing to say because you haven't even played your copy yet. Original copy.
I know, but why punch that when there's a new one right around the corner? Okay,
Exactly.
This guy here, he needs to fix your hair. Stop with the thing and fix it, or I'm leaving.
You are the Paul Lind of Hollywood Squares here on Whiskey Charlie.
This thing, fix that bullshit. I can't look at you like that. Stop. Fix it.
Wait, hold on. I'm going to ask you one question. Does it annoy you?
Until he fixes that here.
Does it annoy you?
He's going to keep doing
No, it doesn't annoy me.
It doesn't annoy you? Okay.
I think it's kind of hot, man. It works for you.
That's better.
Oh my God. Lando.
I could see him wearing some chainmail, a little helmet, and in like Lord of the Rings playing one of the doors.
Little Gimli.
Yeah, he's like Gimli.
Nate, I used to go to bars and wear chainmail and leather.
Are you serious?
No.
Because I could see you doing that.
TMI.
I have to check when you say some stuff like that just to make sure it's a joke.
Wait, I can't. I got to figure out here. On my right hand side, I've got what's supposed to be Dan, and I've got Dan above that. Where's Kev?
Kev is being at bleep boo.
Too funny.
I was just stretching my back. I have an injury. It's okay.
Tony says this freaking guy has 100 freaking hats. He can't put on one.
Really, what a great Tony Costa.
Dan to block.
Hey, speaking of Corona, I wanted to ask you guys if you had heard anything about WBC. Is that going to be still going on?
I didn't hear it.
That's going to get canked.
You really think so?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be canceled.
Today they're talking now. I mean, we're not going to get deep into Corona, but they're talking like July, August.
Oh,
at this point, it's like, okay, well, that cancels Origins, that cancels Gen Con, that cancels WBC. It's like, next thing I'm looking forward to is SD Hist and BGG Con.
Nate, you got a new baby. You ain't going nowhere. You stay home.
Yeah, but if I keep getting stuck in the house, I'm going to have another new baby. I got to be able to get out a little bit, have other things to occupy my time.
That is going to be That is going to be the next baby boom. It's going to be 2021.
That's
So-
I'm saying like 9 months from now, there's just going to be the slew of babies at the
Oh,
hospital
absolutely.
because everybody's been stuck at home.
Corona teens, 2030, 2033.
We've got millennials now to be Corona teens. Dan, the mini Kurgan Pancaldi.
Okay, what does that mean?
Oh, Centurion's review is here.
Hey,
Yo,
Dave. Little Wars and Gary Con have been canceled. Ooh.
Gary Con.
Everything's getting canceled.
Yeah.
Talking about Gary Con, did you see how many guests are at Gary Con?
2.
No.
Both have
Gary and
canceled.
his wife.
It's an insane amount of people.
Yeah, that ain't going to happen now.
Well, that was that for me.
Gippy's gal guesses you're right.
Hey, Dave.
Who are you talking to?
Centurion's review.
Oh, I told you, man. Like my memory's been hit and miss the past couple of days. It just like comes and goes.
Smack.
Dude, it's freaking.
It's all love, bro.
I got it, tattooed right on there, but damn landmine, man. That's the biggest thing. The walking with a cane doesn't bother me, but the memory just drives me nuts. Can't tell you how many times I walk into a room and I have no idea what the hell I walk in the room for. I leave, remember, get back to the room, forget again.
No, that's
I can't wait to see
I do
it.
that every day. What's your problem, dude?
I hope
Don't
WBC
be using
happens.
your war wounds as an excuse for that. That's just an old regular guy's thing.
I'm old before my time.
Exactly. I hope WBC happens still because I'm going to fuck with you so bad. You're like, now you know what it's like to be us.
I was looking forward to getting to, see everybody again and meet some people that I haven't,
So I'm gonna be the noob. What is Gary Con?
Gary,
I don't know.
Gary Gygax.
Gary Gygax. It is Gygax, so it's an RPG con.
Yeah.
Okay.
John says, I'm just old. Seclusion means I go to my wing of the house. You
Well,
have a wing of the house? Damn.
God
Every
bless
guy
Con.
does. Every guy has a room where it's either the bathroom or their office or the garage.
All right.
Yeah, but not a wing.
Stigler says, Dave, did you not see my punk rock challenge in the comments for No Enemies Here this past weekend? If anybody does not know already, if you don't watch, Dan's channel, No Enemies Here, Centurion's Review is the punk rock institution. I get it all screwed up. Punk rock institution of wargaming reviews. So there you go. What is it, Stigler?
I gotta say, like, speaking of New Enemies Here, I'm still surprised that Dan doesn't have more subscribers than he does. I mean, he does provide a much needed service because there was no one else who was telling you the who, what, when, where when it came to all the wargaming stuff.
We were saying that before.
It's Kevin's fault.
How is it my fault?
How is it your man crushes?
You spend most of your time abusing me, calling me the CEO, big man, like dictator for life or something. I don't even know where you came up with that.
I don't know.
That was brilliant.
I think you once on Facebook said that you're president for life, and I took off on.
Yeah, what a surprise.
It worked.
Yeah. Well, how many subs do you have, Dan? Let's have a look. Let's see what you got.
Well,
Like 1,500 or so.
quite a bit, man. I have
He's got like $3,000.
Awesome.
Oh, I thought it was in the thousands.
17
$3,000.
Hey, good. It's actually gone up.
No, that's cool, man. That's cool. Hey, look, it's some guy said it's a little bit redundant. There was this Kevin.
How the hell on my own, when I open up YouTube, how the hell do I get Whiskey Charlie episode 6 St. Patty's Day party on my own suggestions? What the hell, YouTube?
I've got you here at 1,700.
What, for Dan?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
1,730.
Hey, look, Kevin. Remember once, just a few days ago, we FaceTimed and we were talking about this guy who was ribbing everybody, right?
Yeah.
And God, I forgot what I was going to say.
I've been there.
You were upset with it, or you were upset about it, and I told you to chill out and
Chillax.
It's advertising, right? It doesn't matter if it's bad commentary or not, right?
Yeah, I know. I learned that from Madonna. But anyways.
Wait, it was some reviewer that was insulting everybody?
No, it was some idiot person.
Non-reviewers insult everybody. Reviewers don't.
I mean, he was just slamming everybody. And at one point I said, hey, buddy, do you have a YouTube channel?
Where's your effort, asshole?
You seem to know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? It's like, what the hell? Oh, yeah.
Dan was funny, though. Dan, you were great. Because you were like, oh, well, you must have a channel because you know so much about it. Someone was asking, the typical sort of, oh, who should I go watch when really they're trying to pimp someone else's channel type of thing. I think that's one of those posts. It's kind of a bait and switch post. But anyway, someone gave poor old Dan a hard time. And we all
How
stuck
did
up
you
for it.
give Dan a hard time? I mean, his channel is so for lack of a better word, vanilla. It's just so easygoing. It's like, here's the information.
It's so innocuous.
He's an aggregator.
Should I mention his name, Kevin?
He's an aggregator.
Kevin, should I mention?
Agitator, aggregator.
Hold up, wait.
I wouldn't do that. Oh,
Private chat.
Uh-oh.
yeah, do it in private chat. That's not cool. Don't be calling that. Don't name and shame some. It's probably some poor 75-year-old mouth breathing dude who's on his last legs. He's got coronavirus. He's poured all the games on top of himself. He's about to pour the gasoline on and immolate himself and be done with life.
I had a guy who did similar. He was complaining about one of Elise's videos, doing her guesses videos, and he was hating on it like, don't go here looking for information about war games because she doesn't know anything about war games. It's like, no shit. That's the premise of the video.
The whole point, you moron.
Yeah. And he was complaining, attacking her, saying it wasn't informative. It's like, well, it's not supposed to be informative.
It's not supposed to be, man.
Funny.
It's called Gimpy's Gal Guesses.
That's it. That's like the whole point. And he just
fun.
either didn't get it or just wanted something to bitch about.
And
I have a guy that does that to me. He's always asking me like, what do these acronyms mean? And it's like, buddy.
That guy's name is Dan.
Oh, sorry. Oh, hey Dan, sorry, man.
Jesus Christ. And by the way,
John says he watches all four of us religiously. Thanks, John. And he thinks we have I think you have to share my like. So we're sharing your like.
and Kevin, by the way, that guy who was dissing everybody.
Ardwolf, we need to invite him.
To get
Are we allowed to have more than 4?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Get him in here. I had a chat with him the other night. It was fun.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
He actually knows about war games.
Ah, for God's sakes.
Hey, I'm working on a war game right now as we're chatting.
No, Nate, he's talking about me. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the Hunters 3rd edition.
Oh my gosh.
You know Gregory Smith? I called this guy puts out games like I eat.
Oh, wow. You don't put out 25 games a day.
I'm telling you. And you know what? I just love his games, and that's it.
Well, it's because they're all very, very similar, maybe. You know?
What all games has he done? I don't remember his off the top of my head.
The Hunters?
The Hunters, The Hunted.
The Hunters is like the one that everybody knows.
Your mama does Ben.
What?
What?
Get personal. The Hunters is the one that everybody knows.
Yeah.
Well, this is the first time I'm actually trying it because the original I played was Silent Victory, and I always liked it so much.
Totally
So,
different.
Come on, dude, it's not totally different. I feel like I could play the game without reading the rule book.
Not yet.
Well, but the Hunters is very narrative. I mean, it's 100% narrative driven.
Yeah.
It's roll, look on a table, and this is your story. It's a fun game, but it also is, for me, I found it limiting after a while.
Yeah.
Is there a app that will help mitigate some of the massive amount of dice rolls? Like Silent Victory has an online app. You can go to the page. It's like a website.
Yeah, but that's the whole point, man. You're the die roller for the AI. That's your job. Your
You
job is
hit
not
the
to play
button
game.
and it gives you the specific ships, right? So
Same
you're
thing.
still rolling for the attacks and deciding all that. you just don't have to roll to decide all the different ships. It'll tell you small freighter, this tonnage, this name, large freighter, blah, 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 whether or not it has escorts. And it just saves you that time.
No, but I like going through the charts, Nate. I like doing the Patton's best, B-17 Queen of the Skies, orange, blue, green. Look, that's the fun of it. That's for me. For me, that's the fun of it.
Don't get me wrong. I like the style of game. I've got all those styles, Target for Today and the Hunters and Silent Victory and the battleship one I can't remember, or the destroyer one I can't remember the name of off the top of my head. So I like the genre just fine. It's just some of it can get fiddly when you're like, okay, rolling for the next ship for the 10th time in a patrol.
We were talking earlier about that.
Need a notepad.
I think the difference is for a solo game, some solo games give you a lot of choices to make, and other games you're in the place of rolling the die for the system, so that generates some story that you imagine the movie in your head. I think most said, and a lot of great games, a lot of movie in your mind. A lot of great games, movie in the mind type of deal, where if you're not rolling the dice, you're not finding out, you're not building a story in your mind. So I think that's part of that sort of solo thing. People either really love that or they don't.
I think there's the middle ground for it. I think that you can still have, the whole story in your head thing, even if instead of rolling the dice, you're just pushing a button, and it generates the ships so much quicker than having to go through all the steps. The end result's still the same. It just takes a lot less time, which helps, especially for me if I'm filming the game.
Yeah, well, of course. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a production thing.
Because when you're filming the game, it takes 3-4 times as long to film it when you're playing it and filming it versus just playing it by yourself. If you're just playing it, it's not that bad. But if you have to film it and you're having to talk, it slows everything down. So if you've got an app to take out just a little bit of that, I like that.
Right.
Yeah. Especially for filming. There was some guy who wanted. Is there an app for ambush that does that instead of you going through the?
Not that I'm aware of.
No, but aren't they creating like a second version or something like that?
I didn't hear of it.
That's one they need to update. That's one someone needs to take and create an app for that has procedural generation. So each time you play through it, it's something different.
Oh my God.
Tell me that game wouldn't explode. I'd buy it in a heartbeat. I'd buy it tomorrow.
So would I. But we're only 5,000 people. How much money can they make?
Well, look, I get it.
Where'd you pull that number out of your ass?
Yeah, out of my ass.
Look, he is right. War gamers are not buying the quantity that you're seeing of people who buy stuff like Magic cards or Dungeons and Dragons and crap like that, So, yeah, there's not as much there, but if someone, I don't care who, could just do a good job and create that, I would be so grateful. Because Ambush is a great game.
Yeah,
there you go, Nate. There's a job for you.
What?
Create these things.
No, I'm not a computer guy. I'm not a programmer. I'm a lover, right? I'm making babies.
Yeah.
Remember?
Matt says he knew of Stuka Joe and Derek Case. Now there are several. If you've not already looked at single-handed warfare, Derek Case, I strongly recommend you do. Derek
I thought he had retired. I didn't think he came back.
Yeah.
He's on timeout.
Yeah,
he's not
retired. I'm bugging his ass. I usually don't bug people's ass, but I'm bugging his ass.
You bug everybody's ass.
About coming back on. I mean, come on, Derek. I mean, seriously, man.
Well, he teased us and said he was coming back, and then he went, I'm coming back. Bye. And then just ghosted us.
He's pretty busy with other stuff.
Yeah, he's got other stuff going on in his life, and that's understandable. But still, the stuff he has put out is fantastic.
I love it.
Yeah. Love Derek.
I was watching his stuff back before I even got started, know, with my own.
Yeah.
He'd been one of the originals that I watched.
Exactly.
I'd love to see him come back around to it. Although the legend is still Stuka.
Stuka.
It's different. It's different, man.
Little hero.
All of my interviews have his shirt in it. Starting today with John Kranz from Consim World. What's that?
When are you going to put that out?
It's out Dumbass.
Well, better get caught up there,
Yeah.
Mr.
It was
News
put out
guy.
today. You're supposed to get. You know what? If there was only a news place that you can keep up on these
There's
things,
only one
we'd
place
be great.
you can go to
we'd
find
be
all
in
the
good
news
shape.
of YouTube videos that are produced. When are you gonna start doing blogs? You know, I want you to do a video about my blog.
This is what happens when we're all locked in.
There's Robert Moffat, Combat, Compass Games. Has anybody played it?
Not yet. I want to play that.
Well, I want to play it too, but it's $135 American.
And that's why no one's playing it.
Yeah.
Now, hold on. Hold on a second. Why is it $135?
Because it's printed in the USA.
And it's a small print run.
Okay.
And it's got very ordinary graphics, and the gameplay is kind of average. That's the feedback from my team of people that give me feedback.
Oh, wait, hold on. Kev has a team? Holy crap. You are
My
even bigger
gang,
than
my
Dan.
guys, my
You're even
bros.
bigger than Dan. You have a team.
Not a team, wrong word. It's just people. It's peeps. I talk to folks. I'm an engaging, fun guy.
And
I'm not
Matt
being
says
dick.
Derek posted in Solitaire War Games tonight. He is playing Victoria Cross too.
There we go. Derek's around. Derek's doing good. I think someone was asking if he's okay. He's doing great. He just has a lot going on in his life, and a YouTube channel is not part of it at the moment.
Yeah. Okay.
Stupid
Well,
Joe
it does
pointed out
take
Dan's
a-
channel.
It takes a lot of time, though.
Hey,
It
man,
does.
it takes 75% of your day.
I don't think a lot of people get like how much time it really takes into it.
Well, you want to do your sort of quality, Nate, and Dan. Well, I mean Mo's sort of quality. Then it takes a lot of time.
Don't be
Wow.
like kicking the guy while he's down, man.
I'm sorry,
my
Dan.
quality is the best.
You're
Dan,
such
you
a small
suck.
but easy. You're such a small but easy target.
You know, I asked these guys, I've pointed it out to them before, but sometimes I go back and I watch some of my old stuff
Yeah.
and I look at it and I'm like, oh my God, what was I
Horrible,
thinking? It
horrible,
was,
Dan.
yeah, it was so bad. You know, the graphics were bad. They were,
Yeah.
what I was
Yep.
doing, I would ramble, say
Yep.
a lot, you know.
Yep.
And
Well,
every
we all
time-
say a lot.
Yeah.
Is normal.
I try not to care about that anymore. I don't care.
Every
Now-
time I replace it, I find a way to replace with something else. People will
I
pick
do
up on
too.
it and they'll put
I
it in
say
the
you
comments.
know. I say you know.
Yeah, I say
We always
think
find
and.
something. Yeah. What do you say?
Think and. So I think
Think
you
and,
can do
yeah.
this, and I think you can do this. And I say that a lot, and people picked up on it. Like, yeah, go back to
Everybody does something because what you're doing is, for those who don't content create, when you're trying to do something on the fly, you are constantly trying to let your brain catch up to your mouth.
Yep.
And you are going, you know, it's like this. And it's like, because you're trying to let your brain catch up to your mouth so you can form the a coherent sentence. Otherwise you go, and that's the thing, and it does this, and yeah, okay.
So silence. So here's from a
Silence is
presentation.
golden.
Yes, from a presentation standpoint, silence is okay. People think that something has to happen every 10 seconds in video, in YouTube video. In our world with wargamers, it doesn't. Right? You can pause and then say something and be deliberate and articulate and accurate without having to go, okay, and then blah, 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 because you feel like you have to either be
Fill
an
that
authority
space.
or be engaging. And I think it's okay in our space to say that. So I get a lot of criticism from, I used to do a lot of live streaming, and just because the phone and the apps and stuff are different now, I don't do as much. But if you're trying to play OCS and live stream it and provide commentary at the same time and play accurately, it's really, really, really hard.
Yeah.
But people give you a lot of grace on that because you're playing live and you're working through the rules mostly from memory, because you can't just pause the camera and go, I'm going to look up 14.2 paragraph D.
Here's a good question about that. A lot of people, I've gotten gripes over, hey, stop doing previews and just do like playthroughs. I've shot some playthroughs and I've thrown them out because I got tired of listening to myself going, okay, I'm going to do this and this and this. Some people love that. Now, let me ask the audience that's here, aside from the content creators here, everybody, If I was to do a playthrough of, say, whatever, I don't know, World War Z, for example, that one would be a real simple one. Would you want to hear me say, okay, well, if I do this, this will happen. If I do this, that'll happen? Or do you want me to just play the freaking game and actually, have a 40-minute video versus like a, I don't know, 70-minute video of me like farting around and looking up rules and stuff like that? Because that's what happens with a lot of playthroughs is people are like, oh, I love playthroughs. Well, first off, number one, RTFM, as Kev was saying earlier, we can't just handhold everybody through every game. But, when it comes to actually playing through a game, do you want condensed version or do you want the expanded? Oh, I don't know what I'm going to do here. I'm going to read the rules because that's what we all do, the same as you all do. It's not like we're any better than anyone else.
I think there's a couple of schools of thought on that. You've got those that, prep it and they are playing the game, but they're not really playing the game. They've just kind of staged it and they're walking you through an example of gameplay. So you have that, and then you have those who legitimately play the game. And I'm not saying one's better than the other. Both will work. It just depends on your own personal preference.
Sure.
But both can show people what the game actually is. It just depends on who the creator is and what works for them.
Yep. There's value if you're going to be. So Nate, you do fantastic tutorials. If you're going to do a tutorial, I believe you have to be accurate, almost to a fault, right? And it's okay to come back and say, "Hey, I made a mistake," but you need to be accurate because you're calling it a tutorial or it's a whatever it is. It's in that vein. If you're doing a gameplay video and you're playing and talking about it, and let's exclude the live stuff, and you make mistakes, I think that's kind of a matter of course, and that's real world, right? That's what happens. You play a game, you go, oh, I made a mistake. And then later on, as you're playing and still videoing, you might go, oh, you know what? I made a mistake 30 minutes ago, 25 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Bygones, let's keep going, or do we want to roll that back? How important was it? Those types of things. So I think Nate's right on the money about people expect different things. And I think between the four of us here, we provide them different things, and everyone has an opportunity to, choose what they like to watch and listen.
See, I actually did something similar to what you're talking about, where I was kind of showcasing the mistakes. It was when I did Fields of Fire 2.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew that game was complex. I knew it was meaty, and I knew I was going to make errors with it. So I involved the audience with it. And I was like, look, I'm going to play to the best of my ability and my understanding, but there is no way that I can spend enough time with this game to play it fully correctly without a fault. It's just too complex. So we're going to do this together. As you guys see the errors, put them down in the comments and I'll address it in the next video. And we'll just have this be a group effort. And that's what they did. Yeah. And I didn't take it personally because I was asking them to do it,
Look,
what a great.
The designer can play that game without making mistakes.
But what a great way to engage your audience, right? That's fantastic. So,
but the thing is, they got to remember, like, even with the tutorials, the boot camp stuff that I do, it's impossible for one person to do it 100% without making mistakes.
Sure.
I actually had one guy give me grief online about it. I had done like 60 some total for the Lock and Load Tactical. And he's like, well, you made an error in this, video number 37, blah, blah, blah. And
what the hell, man? What the hell? It invalidates everything you've done.
Well, I gave him hell over it. I was like, okay, well, I'll tell you what. You go make a 60-plus video series and try to do it without making one mistake, and then come back and tell me how easy it is. And he, backtracked after that. He's like, I wasn't, trying to be insulting. And I was like, look, dude, it's impossible. I don't have an editor.
Right.
I'm doing this all by myself, and sometimes you just can't see your own mistakes.
Right.
Which, that's for designers, too. I actually pointed that out. But designers, when they're making games, they're the ones making the game. So it's harder for them to see the mistake.
Okay,
sure.
Guys,
that's where a developer comes in.
My dog, I think, needs to...
He has coronavirus? What? Oh, my God, it's in Canada.
And Nate, all I want to say is, and Kevin, the guys who troll us, let's get these son of a bitches' names and go to their house and
Who
be
gives a thumbs down?
okay.
No.
Who gives a thumbs down?
No, it's
I have 3 or 4 people that thumbs down my own videos. Just I love those guys.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
People have to explain this to me. Hold on, like Dan, I was actually talking to my wife about this earlier. Every single time I put up one of her videos, within half an hour, there's a single thumbs down on it, and it's like someone watches. And as soon as they see it, they put it, put their little thumbs down. And she comes to me, she's like showing me her phone. She's like, someone didn't like it. And I was like, hon, there's a lot of people on the internet.
And she takes it personal, I bet you.
It hurts her feelings a little bit. And I was like, hon, that happens every time I put one of yours up. There's just someone out there who's pissed off. And she's like, I bet it's someone's wife.
Well, every time I put a video out, there's always one thumbs down, and I think it's Kevin.
I'll admit it's me.
Oh no, trust me.
No, it's not me.
I would tell you. I would tell you if it was me.
Yeah, look, guys. Thanks a lot.
It's Stigler.
Kevin, I love you. I'm just joshing with you.
I wish we could see who did it. I wish you could actually.
That would be fun.
That would be fun.
That would be fun, but at the same time, I mean, there are some people that just like to poo-poo on other stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to go to that guy's house and shove my fist up his ass. I swear to God.
But and if we did, and if we were able to know, I'd have to go back and undownvote all the Dan's.
Matt says something about narcotics. Bye, Dan.
See you, Dan.
Go to sleep.
Now, John says he has no inclination of making a channel. Most likely, he would say nothing and just stare into the camera. Like most of us do the first time we do a video. We're I want to do a video, but I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So I'm going to wing it.
Yeah, it took me over a year before I put my face. It was just my disembodied hands.
Same here. I do the hands. I do the video stuff with the hands, and I talk with my hands. I'm like, even though I'm Irish, I talk like all Italian with the hands when I'm doing videos, because I get a face for radio. I know that. That's why I do radio stuff to begin with.
Yeah, I don't think any of the 3 of us will win any beauty competition.
No.
Hey now, I ain't ugly.
Oh, as far as you know,
you're freaking ugly, dude.
Bro.
You're freaking ugly, dude.
I'm gonna have to
say that with
introduce you to
all the
my,
love of my heart,
my
brother.
twin brother. That's funny too. When you got a twin brother who looks like you and you call each other ugly. We grew up doing that.
There's some Freudian stuff in there, I'm sure. If Dan was still here, he would want to hey, get on the couch and we'll talk about it.
I'm still trying to get him into more of what I call war games, mainstream war games. He's into 40K and
Who's that? Your brother? Yeah. Well, hey, you know what? The main thing is he's playing.
Yeah.
That's the important.
Yeah.
Well,
that 40K stuff looks so awesome, though.
Oh, if his wife knew what he spends on it.
Oh, well, see, that's the drawback to 40K is it is very much how much you spend is what really rewards you. And it's kind of like pay to play in a way.
Right.
Which is a shame, because that's the beauty of board games is like, hey, you know what? Me and Kev want to play, I don't know, any game, throw it next war or whatever, last 100 yards. We're throwing down the game. We're not throwing down any extras or something Kev bought or I bought, or we're playing the game. And even if we're playing, going back to what we were saying earlier, if he doesn't grasp a rule or I don't grasp a rule, we help each other out. And that's the beauty of war games. Right. And what I think sets war games apart from, well, I mean, all games are kind of like that, but war games are even more so because it's more of a struggle to understand a war game than it is to understand a hobby game for the most part. So generally people do work together, say, hey, you might not want to do that because of this. Here's why.
Think about like the mainstream board games, like stuff you might find at Gen Con. One of their selling points is, oh, the rule book isn't that big. It's under 10 pages or it's only a few pages. And, some of our war games, some of their selling points is, hey, this rule book's 100 pages, Oh,
hey, we got Gary.
What the hell? Who's sitting backstage for like 20 minutes now?
I'm sorry. I didn't see you there.
Oh.
Yeah, he did the same to me. Don't sweat it.
Charge here. I want to talk to the management.
You know what? That's it. We're going to.
That'd be that guy.
There we go.
Over there.
We have.
Perfect.
I said there was going to be shenanigans tonight. There's shenanigans. This is what St. Patty's or St. Quarantine's Day is all about.
There's always shenanigans. I'm officially
Exactly.
quarantined as of today. So,
Well,
Yeah.
everybody's been quarantining you forever.
well, yeah, but
Like
I mean,
the
that's
rest of
just
us.
people hate me. I mean, I'm like officially not supposed to be out now.
That's why we all play solitaire war.
Oh, have you been in contact?
Well, we had a bunch of international visitors in the building at work
Ooh.
last week and the week before. So
So you get two
It's
or 4
Chinese people or
we'll see. No, they're mostly from Europe, actually, but Europe is where
Damn Europeans,
I'm
can't trust
right
anyone.
now. So,
Damn Euros, they ruin everything. Let's talk war games.
oh, that's totally fine. I guess I gotta find some solitaire stuff to do,
Yeah.
or
Oh,
vassal
war
stuff
games.
to do.
Well, actually, so
That's
I'm
something
thinking
Armchair
you, me,
Dragoons was
OCS.
talking about.
Yeah, why not? What did you have in mind, title wise?
So just so the other guys know, we had a chat the other night, and we were
Good chat.
yeah, it was a great chat.
Amazing.
Yeah. And this dude plays like it's got 4 billion turns of OCS down, and I was saying I was bemoaning the fact that I'd never played against a seasoned player,
Well,
and I was looking. Well, I mean, dude, compared to me,
Well,
you're a seasoned player, right? So
I've got a fair amount of experience. I wouldn't call myself.
There you go.
skilled.
It says it all. So I said I would love to play, and then afterwards we were PMing, and it's like, we should try and get a game going. So now that you're quarantined and I'm stuck at home anyway, we should try and do something. Pick a module. I don't care.
we should.
Not
Tunisia too.
what?
Tunisia too.
don't know that one.
Well, I have that one, and it's
Tunisia too.
relatively lightweight. Tunisia too. It's the Tunisia campaign in 1942.
Okay.
So, unless you'd rather do something East Front, in which case I'm going to recommend Smolensk.
Smolensk.
We'll talk about it.
Stalingrad 42.
Okay.
And this is going to be over Vassal.
I haven't tried Stalingrad 40. That's the idea.
It's fun.
I haven't
it's
tried
fun.
Stalingrad 42 yet. There were some guys who had it on a table at Winterfest. They were enjoying it. I like the rest of those games in that sequence.
Yeah.
So,
If you like the rest of them, you're going to
the
enjoy
table.
it because Sticky Zox the same, and then you have the
City
I'm gonna
fighting.
screw this up. Well, the city fighting, and then you also have the not one step back rule, which really you have to
Yeah.
kind of pay attention to. It doesn't really kick in till a certain turn unless you're a certain, like if you're in KVD or something like that. But it's a lot of fun, and it's pretty much if you're the Soviets, you do like I like to do, stand your friggin' ground and just fight because that's what you're going to do. You're going to take a lot of casualties, but that's the whole point of the assault.
I would love to play you, Mo, because you'll be done by turn 8 if you run that strategy.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Okay, we were talking about OCS, so I need to
Oh
play
well, no,
OCS
OCS is
before.
totally different. OCS is like
So maybe Tunisia
supply
too.
and stuff. Yeah.
There's no vassal module for Stalingrad 42 yet.
Yeah.
No?
Joel Toppin, get on it, man.
That's
Some
lame.
dude's working on it, and he's got some problem,
Yeah.
some personal issue. And I was like, just
Yeah.
email the freaking file to somebody else. Let's get that sucker done,
I
right?
think it's like Mr. Vassal. We did this before, Dan. Let's do this right now for Joel Toppin and his amazing, his amazing vassal abilities here, where he comes out with all these vassal modules for everybody to enjoy.
Exactly.
I guess-
Amazing.
Really high
Vassal
functioning
goes-
vassal modules, too.
That's where I
Yeah.
get most of my my digital files, like all the stuff I superimpose on the
Yeah.
videos. I just strip it out of the Vassal modules.
Mhm.
I mean, it's
Stigler
easy as
says,
hell.
Me too.
Stigler says Countdown makes a lot of mistakes and sometimes it leaves you with the impression that he doesn't have a grasp on the rules. That's a tad annoying when I commit a half hour to watching a video. But you know
Wait
what?
a minute,
You're
half
watching
hour?
Callendale.
Half-hour Callendale videos? Where
That's
did
an
you
intro.
The first 10%.
Yeah, I mean, you got to watch the whole video.
That's the intro. You're not watching the
Yeah.
whole thing.
The intros are 2 hours sometimes.
Callendale's kind of one of those that's really
He's the
playing
Jerry
in front of
Garcia.
you, and he's working his way through it. So
Yes.
this is going to be full of errors. It's not going to be
Yeah.
a prepped and fleshed out.
Every time I watch Callendale, I want to say squirrel. I do say squirrel when I'm watching a video just to throw him off, and I just keep waiting to see him go off in a different direction.
The one
I
thing
heard
he
from
cannot
someone-
be accused of is brevity.
No,
Yeah.
no,
I
he
heard
is
from-
extemporaneous.
I can't remember who it was, but someone told me he had a hot wife. Is that true? I'm just curious. Because he just seems like out there that it could be true or not true.
Dude, he's a funky dude.
I know I probably shouldn't be asking, but
So he is a
I'm
dancer,
curious.
Okay, and chicks.
Have you ever seen the
guys
video of him
dance.
dancing, tripping
Yes,
out,
I
dancing?
have.
Fuck no.
When we say dancing, are we talking about like
Okay.
Dancing, dancing.
No, it's awesome though. You know,
He's not
in
river
that
dancing.
way.
He's dancing though. But
It's
in a white man
break
kind of
dancing,
way.
right?
What's that?
I think it's breakdancing, right?
Not so much.
no,
Assuming not.
it's kind of like he's at a Dead concert, and it's just he just lets it fly. He's awesome though. I mean, I love Callendale because what he does.
Yeah.
I love all of the content creators that bring something to the hobby. Everyone brings something a little different, like Kevin was saying earlier. Everyone brings a little something different, and that's what's beautiful about our side of the hobby is everyone kind of has a little niche. So there's a niche or a niche within a niche, as we were saying. I think Dan was correct there, but it's niche. You're supposed to say it all French, but everyone has their own little focus. And that's what's great about it is because if you want to see this, you look at this person. You want to look at that, you look at that person.
Yeah, that's so. So here's one thing I will say about Dan's voting for best, blog of the year or whatever. It's just I'm kind of the impression that we're all so different that it's kind of pointless to me to do this voting thing. It just feels weird in of 300 people that actually watch the friggin' videos. Let's all post about I like Kev, or I like Nate, or I like Mo. Like, who gives a fuck who likes who?
I want everybody to like me though.
Doesn't Stuka just win every year anyway?
He does.
Yeah.
Stuka's awesome, but John says that
right.
you're in his will. Ardwolf, you're going to get, when he's 90, you're going to inherit all his OCS collection. Then he's going to live to 99, so he's going to be 9 years without his OCS collection.
I need deck 2 in case blue, so that'll be awesome.
And St. Joe, the patron saint of Vassal modules, that is Joel Tompin.
St. Joe, what a great name. That is
Literally.
it. He is the saint too. Good man. That whole marketplace that he runs.
How can you skip past 2 or 3 pipe lightings? That is the point of watching Callendale.
No, wait. Hang on. I got to adjust my camera. He does that every video too.
My favorite Callendale intro is when he goes in, puts the game on the table, the camera's going, he walks around behind the table and knocks the lamp over and then starts swearing at it. Oh, fuck. Bends over, picks the lamp up.
And there's no edits. It's awesome.
No editing. It's awesome. It's
guy's authentic. He's authentic.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Like
He's
he is who he
It's
is.
It's straight from the VHS onto the upload.
As the kids would say, he's lit.
There's almost nobody doing wargaming stuff on YouTube where you really feel like you're in the room watching him play more than Callendale.
Oh yeah, for sure. Totally.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yep.
Especially if you were smoking a joint while you were watching him, probably really get that effect.
I'm told that's just tobacco.
Yeah, I don't buy that one.
Yo, what's going on, Joe? Hey, Joe Duffy has joined us. He is a brother of mine on Twitter, a friend. He's come to join in on the chat. He's not necessarily a war gamer, but he's checking it out. So a lot of fun. You need to get on Twitter, Nate.
No,
like the rest of us. Stop being a little bitch.
Twitter is not real life. Twitter is where people go to yell
Twitter
about
is
politics.
all.
Yeah,
no,
just
ignore that shit.
Set up a channel and just post it, like auto post your stuff there, and don't worry about it. Don't even check in. Right?
Look, I'm not gonna like derail us, but very long story short, I don't, and this goes for a lot of social media companies. I don't think Twitter supports First Amendment free speech stuff that well. So I just
most social media doesn't.
There is
but
that.
you know what?
That's true.
Mute, ignore, and just pay attention. Like I watch Gary stuff, I watch Kev stuff. I like pay attention to the people that I care about, and I want to see what they're saying because they're talking to me. They're talking war games. All the other crap, weed it out. Just junk.
What would be the point, though? I've already got Facebook.
Because
I've got groups there to see.
It's instantaneous.
So
expand your audience. Yeah, it's audience expansion. That's all.
I feel like when I stopped paying attention to Facebook on a regular basis, my life literally improved. I was less aggravated.
Yes.
And I have better interaction on Twitter, I think, than on Facebook. Facebook, There's a lot of
Really?
stooges. I mean, I'm sure there's knuckleheads on Twitter too, but I'm not following those people. So
there's a ton of boneheads
Yeah.
on Twitter.
but I feels like, I mean, on Facebook, I'm obliged to be friends with my mom, for example. So I post this huge gallery of wargaming pictures, and somehow one of the pictures in there, because I didn't check it, was this picture of this pack of hot dog buns that I bought. So I post this huge gallery of wargaming pictures, and my mom, who comments first? My mom. I don't understand anything that I'm seeing except the hot dog buns. Like, that's fantastic.
That's
Thanks,
hilarious,
Mom.
though.
I don't need that. I can call her and
But see, I found you, Wolf, through Twitter.
I'm much more active on Twitter than I am anywhere,
Yeah.
other than YouTube.
I just bail from Facebook. I have my personal profile on the big board page. I haven't posted there the last couple of days. I'm just everything gets posted to the blog, and then it gets auto distributed to Twitter, Facebook, and Tumblr, and I forget some other place.
You're on
And
Tumblr?
yeah, I'm on Tumblr.
It's still around.
Wow.
He's the only
It's still
non-porn
around.
content creator.
I used to be a Google Plus dog. I was like,
He's the only non-porn content creator on.
Yeah. They threw off. They threw off all the porn.
There's porn on
Of
Tumblr.
porn. Yeah. Big
Nate is the Marine in the group. He's like, there's porn on Tumblr?
big boobs, big boards. It's all the same.
Oops.
All three of you were talking, and I got that word porn. Like,
That's why you're my brother, man.
yep.
But the funny thing is I'm kind of the same way. Now, Facebook, I do post content on, and that's pretty much it. I do post occasionally, but it's become kind of passe. Twitter is where I have the most interaction with people because, like,
Really?
any of us
Me too.
will say something, we'll post something, and I'll be like, oh, Kev's got this new video up. Oh, let's go check it out. And I'll retweet it or something, or Gary, same thing. Nate, you need to get on there because that is where you can have instantaneous, responses to people. And it's just, I guess it's like a personal, what you enjoy. And I like
Don't
Twitter because it's quick.
Don't take this the wrong way. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you, but what wargamer needs to contact me instantaneously? Right? For the most part, they don't need to, and
all of us.
they can message. Well, I mean, they can message me on Facebook, but a lot of times, and I'll be honest, like I'll put my phone on silent, I put it down on charge somewhere, and I'm with my kids and I'm with my wife, because I spend a lot of time wargaming as it is and filming, and they're only going to be young once. I can play a war game 10 years from now. I can't go back and get time back from when they're kids.
For the
No,
rest of us,
you're supposed to like instantaneously answer anything on social media.
Twitter would just take time away from me that I could be spending with
True.
my family while they're young. And I'm not hating on it. Like, I don't like Twitter's politics personally, but
Yeah, you are.
if someone wants to be on Twitter, that's fine. But I'm like, my social media presence for my wargaming stuff is already out there plenty on BGG, on YouTube, on Facebook. I'm like, if I'm already there and you can't find me or find what you need from me, then you're not trying hard enough because it's out there.
if you feel like you have as much social media footprint as you can deal with for whatever reason and just don't want the extra channel, then don't. I completely understand that.
Yeah.
What he's saying.
David says this show is far more entertaining than anyone or anything someone can come up with in the 90 characters you're allowed on in a tweet.
It's 140 characters now.
I was going to say it's been expanded now, finally.
And
can
I
get
don't
a
get that
whole
either.
second half of the sentence in now.
What do? You can say 2 sentences to someone. What am I going to say to someone about a war game? This war game is awesome. The end. Gimpy.
It
Joe?
encourages brevity.
Joe says, I don't play a ton of war games, but I like Marco.
Well, obviously Joe's not a big fan because it's Omni Wargamer now. But anyway,
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself. No, I'm only kidding, Joe. I love you, brother. It's an inside joke. If you listen to Bruce Garrick, you'll understand what I'm talking about here. But it is definitely something you need to check out. I totally went brain dead.
I don't think Marco made a bad
Wild
choice
Weasel
going Omni because it expanded his base out.
He was doing it anyway.
yeah, he's a Eurogamer guy and a Wargamer as
yeah.
well, and kids
Yeah, he does
games.
both.
I watched plenty of his videos, but I only watch
Sure.
the war game stuff.
But the graying of the hobby, and and no offense to David, Undaunted Normandy is a really good game. It really is. Some people, like quote unquote purist war gamers may maybe disagree.
It's
But
sold out everywhere. It's pretty good. I tried to buy a copy and couldn't.
Undaunted is a fun game, and that's the key. We were talking about it before. Is that it's a fun war game.
Sure.
But at the same time, dissing half of your crowd, saying, well, you're old, you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever. It's like, no, you don't do that. You don't flip the finger to half of your crowd when you say you're aging, you're going to die off and screw you.
Yeah.
Shut
yeah.
up, boomer.
I think he had a bad day, right?
He had a bad day. That was a bad move. And he kind of got it thrown back at him by Bruce, who said, F you. And I agree with more, I don't agree with Marco's point of view. I agree more with Bruce's, because wargaming, we've all seen this at cons. We're seeing more and more younger gamers get into war games. Nate's a good example. He's only in his 30s. So he's into war games, and it is growing. It's not growing at the exponential level that Euro games are, because there's more complexity. Euro games, you can sit down, jam out a game pretty quick. You can learn in 5 minutes. War games take more effort.
I think you're more likely to find a younger crowd if it's a younger crowd that's been in the military, right? That has
True.
a background they could associate, because I spent a lot of years in the Marines, and I didn't even know about war games. If I had known about them earlier, I was into board games, but I didn't even know war games existed until I was in my 30s somewhere, right? Yeah, I think back to all those years. I was like, damn, I missed all that. I could have got on YouTube earlier. I could be way bigger than I am now. I could have been one of the originals, but I didn't know about it.
You could have been playing squad leader with those guys in the final countdown.
I would have got that stuff when I was a kid had I known it existed, but it just didn't have a marketplace. It didn't have a marketing, rather, is what I meant.
Justin from LJ Play is on here. He says he learned Undaunted at CSW Dallas. Definitely a cool, brisk, engaging game. And Justin has a really cool game, Warline. I have interview with him coming up here tomorrow. I'm going to post it. I've got 5 interviews that I've got set up from CSW Dallas, and I'm going to try to run them concurrently, one after the other, over the next few days, to try to get everybody caught up, and everyone's stuck at home. So might as well watch them, because I got to sit down with several people and talk with them. And Justin's one of them, Warline. He uses a fantasy setting to expand upon the maneuver warfare theory. So it's kind of interesting. And I think war gamers don't, just totally diss it because it's fantasy, because the theories are all there from maneuver warfare. And I'm going to tell you right now, this prototype is not a prototype. This is a finished game that I saw, and I'm not kidding. This looks fantastic.
Is it coming to retail, or?
He tried Kickstarter. It didn't work, and I kind of hooked him up with Uva. So hopefully Academy, I don't know what the latest is with that. Justin can kind of expand on that in the chat, but hopefully Uva would latch on to it, because I think it would be a really good match for the Academy.
So what was the game called?
Warline, Fantasy Tactical Battles. If I'm incorrect on the full title, Justin, correct me in the chat.
So we'll get a perfect version of it, retail version of it, in the next 2-3 years.
Well, depends. It does depend on where it goes.
Academy games, their components are great. I mean, they churn out absolute quality stuff.
They're
but they
deliberate.
wait till they have it,
Yes.
set before they bring it out.
Explains whether the last
This
vendor
game
to
just
come
needs to be
Origins
published.
every year.
What's that?
Explains whether the last vendor to walk in and set up their booth at Origins every year. They want it to be
Sure.
perfect.
Yeah. No.
I thought it's because he comes from WBC. Doesn't he leave
No,
there?
he's like half an hour from here.
Oh,
actually.
no excuse.
Yeah.
Come on, I wouldn't want to go to Origins though.
And Justin said that materials have been sent to Uva. He's reviewing them now, and hopefully something will come out of that, because I really do think that it would be a good match for Uva, because of the simple fact that Academy does a mix of Euro and war games, and this is kind of in that that kind of, I don't want to say suspended space, but it's in that, it goes in both ways. It's not necessarily a Euro game, but it will attract Euro players because of the fantasy theme, but it also will attract war gamers because of the war theme and the whole war game aspects of it and the maneuver warfare and all. I think it'll attract, it's like crossover type of game.
What is area control, hex encounter? What?
It is grid tile based. So as you explore into my area, I will decide what tile you get. So I'm shaping the battlefield on my side. You're shaping the battlefield on your side to try to dictate where we have the battles.
So you have like units that you're moving forward, and as you move them forward, your opponent lays out tiles that they move on to?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And again,
nice.
Justin can correct me in the chat.
Yeah, I'd be cool to check that out.
It's modeled on Boyd's theory, the OODA loop that we were talking about.
Yeah,
before.
OODA loop stuff, right?
Has Academy ever done a fantasy game?
They're doing that three-dimensional game.
The one
Agents of Mayhem.
Agents of
Mayhem.
Mayhem.
That looks
Okay.
pretty
I
cool,
didn't know that
actually.
was them.
Yeah, I did one series on that, and I've got another coming out when they release the solo pack for it.
So Nate, you like it?
Agents of Mayhem? Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I want to play that game. I should have bought that freaking thing.
The mechanics for it are outstanding.
The thing that turned me onto the game a couple of years ago, and this is going to sound funny, and they did cut it off because it was BGG Con. They were trying to be, nice to everybody. It was the character that was sitting there like this. I was like, and they cut the finger off, so it was like this. I was like, no, that's awesome that you have a character that's sitting there flipping the finger to the opponent. Now, some people may find it offensive, but it fit
That's
into
awesome.
the video game kind of mentality that game, that space that it fits in.
Yeah.
The board game is way better than the video game. I mean, like by leaps and bounds. And I'm not like hating on the video game. The video game isn't bad. It's like average, but the board game itself is excellent. I think it needed more attention than it got. Hold up. I'm seeing if I can find that miniature for you. I've got it sitting here in my lap.
With the finger?
Yeah. The game is great.
Awesome. I need to get what does that retail for? 120?
Actually, I put up Miniature Market was doing a sale on it recently for $55. And I was trying to let many people. Miniature Market didn't sponsor me. Uva and all them, they didn't sponsor me. No one told me to say anything, but I was trying to point it out as much as I could. Hey, it's on sale, and for this price, that's outstanding. Buy it up.
Now, not for anything, but Uva really does put out some fantastic games. Now, granted, they do. Academy does kind of. I don't want to say drag their feet. I do want to don't. They do drag their feet, but they're deliberate in their releases because. If you look at it, how much errata is needed for an Academy game?
Uh-oh.
We lost Kev. Now he's coming back. He can still hear us, right, Kev? No, he muted. But he did that before. But how much errata do you think is with an Academy game? Any of the
Not
Academy
much.
games? There's not a lot. And that's why, because they really do. I don't want to say their games are airtight, but they are very, very close to that. Which is fantastic. There you go. There's the figure right there.
I actually painted my guys. But
saying you're number one.
Yeah. Oh, I think the painting actually came out pretty decent on it. The gameplay itself is actually really good. For a miniature skirmish game, it plays really well.
Well, the other thing too that I like about it is when I talked to Uva about it, he said, this is kind of, fantasy sci-fi whatever type of video type game, but it was also derived from where I think it might have been the other way. They took from that and they built it into a Fallujah game.
I was going to say you could do a military game really well.
Yeah, and so they were like kind of exploring out with that, and I like the idea because that's one of the things that board games don't have is you have you kind of have a 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional when you look at the map and you're like, oh, what's the color of the center dot? Oh, it's red. That means it's second or third level or whatever. But you don't see it like you do with a 3-dimensional thing. But the only drawback to a 3-dimensional table is when you do have that, it's much more condensed.
Right. Phantom Fury came close, right, to getting it right. I think that was a pretty cool game. It was top down, bottom up. assaults in buildings and things like that.
The only thing I did not like, I'm just gonna say one thing. I'm gonna hand it over to Nate because he was actually in Fallujah. The thing is that I did not like with Phantom Fury was the artificial timetable. You know, the compression, the time compression, which is nice from a game standpoint, but it's not realistic from an operational standpoint. Kind of it is, but it's not, because that does adjust. But Nate was there; he can talk more about it.
I've played the game. I've got Phantom Fury. I've got actually a few videos of it up. And like I mentioned to you before, though, it was kind of weird because since I was there and like I was looking at streets that I was on, you know, I always ended up like telling war stories instead of, you know, focusing on the game.
As long as you're comfortable doing that, that's very cool, though.
Well, I didn't tell like bad stuff, you know.
I understand. Yeah, I understand. But so when you look at Agents of Mayhem in a real world / scenario based Fallujah style modern combat thing, you think it would work for that kind of engagement?
Oh yeah, like the mechanics of the game, right?
Yeah, mechanics of the game. Right.
Take the fantasy gadgets out of it. The mechanics work. Now they would have to probably change the cubes to something else and call them orders or whatever.
Sure.
But the basic gist of spending more points, because in this game you can spend your points to perform a shoot action, but your shoot action might have a few squares of movement with it too. You can do a move action, which lets you move like 9, or a shoot where you get to attack, but you can move 3, you know, at the same time. But you can spend a few extra points, which are the cubes in the game, to get an aimed attack. So you're taking that time to focus your attack. And on the dice, they have hits and then they have aimed hits. And aimed hits still count as hits, but if you took the time you spent the points to aim, you get extra damage or extra cubes back. There's a variety of bonuses that you can get. So the base of the game, if they took that framework and applied it to something like Fallujah or World War II, you know, whatever theater they wanted to, it would work very well, especially with the fact that it's a 3D terrain. So if you want to have a miniatures type game where you've got terrain that you can affect with line of sight and you can actually see on the table and people can be in buildings, it's a great way to have that all in a single box instead of having to build 3D terrain and do like 40K players do. You know, you can get that experience out of a box, and wargamers would enjoy it. Yeah, I think Agents Mayhem was not like underrated. Plenty of people liked it, but I think that like more people should know about it. More wargamers would be interested in it, I think, besides the theme.
Gotcha. Interesting.
So it all sounds like, you know, that's something that, you know, Nuts tried doing with urban operations, but they did it with, you know, blocks, because that's the only way you can have fog of war is to have blocks, because then it's facing up. You don't know what you're looking at. You see a bunch of blocks. You don't know if it's a dummy or if it's a real unit. And that's one of the biggest hurdles for tactical level, is the fact that when we play a tactical system, regardless, insert system here, you're looking at it with a God's eye view. And that is one of the drawbacks to it, is, you know, that you do see everything and you can kind of formulate a plan, and you kind of in your mind feel like, oh, I'm this really great tactician. But the reality of, you know, tactical combat is you're moving down block to block, or, you know, sector to sector, 100 yards, 50 yards, whatever it is at a time. You don't know what the hell is out there, and you're constantly scared and worried and concerned. And you're thinking about, okay, do I have security out? Do I have my flanks covered? Do I have, you know, front and rear security? All that stuff. At the same time, you're trying to move and then formulate a plan constantly in your head to adapt to any situation that rolls out at you. And the tactical gamer does not experience that in most games.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Really interesting. $79 at Cool Stuff Inc. Oh, sorry, 69
for Agents of Mayhem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Babylon,
that's good.
Something.
Yeah, Agents of Mayhem, something of Babylon. I can't remember.
So
Pride of Babylon.
Pride.
Justin points out in his game, he says, phase 1, we scout terrain, lay terrain tiles in opponent's territory, modeling the intercept methodology. And then we have phase 2, we establish outposts which is something you can kind of crush before your enemy gets, or your opponent gets a heads up as to what you're doing. Then you compose armies, phase 4 deploy, and the core battle loop until victory. So that's how that game works that we were talking about before.
Well, if Justin wants to reach out, I'd love to have a chat with him about it and maybe do a design interview thing with him sometime. Once he gets a publisher or whenever he
There
wants.
you go.
Does he
Justin,
have an idea for a solo? Because that doesn't sound very solo friendly at all.
He
Like,
does.
not hating on the game, but I don't
He's-
know how you would do it.
they're working on a solo, or he's working on a solo module for Warline. And as a matter of fact, you know what? Maybe I'll just make that interview available tonight.
There you go.
Or wait till
Make it happen. I'll watch it after this. Be cool. Joe Duffy's got a good comment about Agents of Mayhem and Jagged Alliance. Remember that PC game? That was a cool game.
Yeah, I could see that. The way, yeah, actually, that'd be a good analogy. Hell, that would actually play pretty well. Mercenaries, that type of
Yeah,
Jagged
you're making me think.
Alliance.
You're making me think. Do I have that game still somewhere?
Whenever I hear that name, I always think of Dark Alliance, which was Baldur's Gate game. So not at all the
Yes.
same thing.
Baldur's Gate. Holy
That
crap.
doesn't
Ooh, easy there, big boy.
You guys
There's
know
a-
there was a Jagged Alliance board game there, right?
No.
Yeah, there was a Kickstarter for it.
Huh.
That one,
Never played the PC game either.
oh
Jagged
well,
Alliance? Either
yeah. It would be more for people who played the PC game growing up and they were into it. It was a miniatures game, but it was more of an area control miniatures game. Type of dungeon crawl. Is a little different. I've got some videos up describing it, but it wasn't like Agents of Mayhem. Real different. If you liked Jagged Alliance and you kind of wanted that feel in a board game, I think they hit it. But I would have liked to seen the 3D terrain, kind of like Agents of Mayhem. I think that's awesome and should be in a military skirmish style game as well.
So, going back to what we were talking about with Justin with his game Warline, who would like to see the interview right now? Not
Sure.
right now, but after the live chat.
Yes, sure.
All righty. It is
What,
now-
are you posting it up now?
It's live. So you guys can check it out after the video. Don't leave. I will hunt you down and send Nate after you and Gary.
I'm a fat and slow, so don't worry.
We're all
You can
fat
run
and slow.
faster than me.
Gimpy is slower than all of us because he's on a freaking cane.
I guarantee you, yeah, everyone's moving faster than me. My 3-year-old's faster than me. That's the problem with kids. When you don't move very fast and they learn that, hey, we're faster than daddy, we don't have to be that quick. We just have to get away from him.
So Justin says, so solo mode is a tangential design, which is intended to help players discover deeper maneuver techniques. It is not necessarily meant to be a super challenging. It's not that it's not, it's just to help you explore all the methodology behind the maneuver theory. If I'm incorrect, go ahead and correct me, Justin.
Well, every game doesn't need to have a solitaire component to it. You can't have certain
it
game
does.
designs if it does.
It's nice if it does, but there are some games that just don't lend themselves to that.
Yeah.
True.
And that's fine. Not every game is going to play well solitaire. There's plenty that do, though, so they don't have to deprive like some concept of the game to try to squeeze in a solitaire mode.
I mentioned flat top somewhere. I think it was on Facebook, and somebody said, "Oh, could you solo that?" No.
Right.
You
right.
cannot solo flat top. It is
Right.
garbage solitaire.
Yeah. You can't play it solitaire. You can play it solitaire, but you won't get the experience of playing it solitaire.
It's the whole point of the game. The why it's fun is all the
Right.
hidden information.
Isn't
So you
that
might-
the one where you're trying to like track down the enemy's carriers?
Yeah.
And it's all plotted movement that you write down on log sheets, and
Oh, wow.
and it's all hidden, and it plays great with a referee. But if you don't have a referee, the game system kind of does all that.
Let me ask you a question. Could you do a chit pull as a substitute for the hidden movement?
It's about the movement, not the pull, not the timing of the pull.
No, I mean, like as you're exploring areas, could you like have come up with like a house rule chit pull? Like, okay, on 1 to 3, you do find something, and you know that these ships are in this area. So on a chip pull, you get this ship, and if obviously the chip pull has to trigger other things. So if you pull this, which is the escort, then you obviously will put this, and this out within 2 or 3 hexes, depending on whatever the scale is, and then you plot your ships on the map. So that way you're kind of like, it's hidden movement. You don't know what you're going to luck into. I mean, as far as a solitaire system goes, without an AI, that would be the only way to do it.
You could totally design a game that does that. That's not flat top, but you could totally do that.
Yeah. The way I played flat top and CV, so I played CV opposed as a kid, and then flat top. Well, the way I did it was I posted polls on my blog and got people to choose. So highest percentage of votes chose the way that the enemy went, and that way it wasn't my choice. And I plotted the moves, and I pre-plotted one side's action. So, for instance, the Japanese were going to go, the Americans actually were going to go on this sort of search pattern, and that was their moves for the entire game. So that worked out, but that was me engaging a community, not me coming up with an AI system. But that's my shorthand of trying to get people to help me out, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's great?
I feel like Red Storm and the other games in that series would actually play.
Red Storm Rising or Red Storm?
Red Storm, the GMT operational air thing that came out mid last year, something like that. Same system downtown and elusive. And I think Kev, you dumped it, as I recall.
And I'm dumping. Haven't dumped it yet, but
I just picked it up. Actually, it looks
so
like
we're there on my shelf.
Winterfest and liked it. So,
well, it's hypothetical War 3, so I'm kind of obligated to check it out. And even though I'm not an air guy, I do like some of the aspects of the concepts behind it. I'm just not an air guy. That's not my thing.
I'm not either, but it occupies a very interesting space as an air game because it's operational.
Sure.
And there's not really that series, as far as I could recall, is really the only series doing that. So that's why, and they finally came up with a topic that I was interested in. So I thought,
now if you can tie in the ground part to that, I think that would be
it has
a little more engaging.
It's got a little bit of ground stuff.
Yeah, it does, but the ground is kind of abstract, kind of like the opposite when it's grounded, where the air is abstract.
Sure.
So you plot the aircraft on like a grid map or something like that?
No, you fly the aircraft around. So I watched Elusive Victory being played, which is the Israeli war stuff, and it looks really interesting and stuff. But I sat there for 17 turns, 12 turns. 12 or 15. I think they finally got to the engagement point, right? I mean, it's a lot of dicking around and a lot of die rolling for something to happen in that module. Now, downtown Hanoi, or whatever it is apparently different, and I believe the Red Storm is different as well.
Is it dicking around because they're like jockeying for position on each other?
No, it's trying to find people, right? And then you've got radars and SAMs trying to lock in, right? So you don't know, you see units moving, but you don't know what they are. And so you have to roll to see. And so the guys go, roll. See their hand movement. It's very reminiscent of something else. And so there's a lot of that. And that is either a good thing or a bad thing. So I don't know.
It's almost like Falcon 4, the board game. You ever play Falcon 4?
Yeah, which is kind of like what?
It's a Microprose. Microprose did it. I think, if I remember correctly, the initial one came out in '97, and it's still going. The computer game. The thing that's cool about that, Falcon 4 is that I think it's Falcon Gold or something now, but that engine is still, being used. And the thing that's cool about it is you can sit up there in your F-16, you can fly, and you can do your, whatever your mission is that you're running, whether it's a bombing mission, cast, or whatever. As you're flying across the Korean landscape, you're seeing, this is the cool part, you're seeing ground battles happening. You'll see tank firing in the distance and stuff like that. You're like, you can mark it on your map saying, oh, these guys are engaged over here. And then when you go to your mission, if you still have ordnance on board, you can fly back to that spot and, hey,
That's
I'm available
cool.
for CAS. Which
that ain't happening in this system. I've got a bit of a beef with the designer anyway. It's a bit of a challenge.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway.
Not something you want to talk about?
It's a personal thing. I was. He made some comments that were very inappropriate, and did it at private forum. So we'll leave it there. But
that's why you punch people in the mouth.
wish I could.
It's hard to do that over the internet, unfortunately.
This is why we have conventions.
Exactly. Hey, so Wolf, what are you at? What you going to show us? Something? Did you jump up to go get something?
Oh, yeah, bottle of water.
Oh, I thought you went to get a game, or you were going to show us something or something like that. Yeah, but I think Redstone's put it.
Is there something you'd like to see?
It's an interesting idea. Now, way back in the comments, like way back, like an hour ago, someone was talking about Marcus Aurelius and
Wilma.
Right. There's another great solo game that forces hard choices upon the game player. And I think that those games are so hard to find, where solo games are really giving you a rich experience that
where you make choices.
Yeah, we may actually make choices versus being the die roll for the AI, right? So that Hollenspiel has become very, very proficient at doing that.
Very much a go-to. They have rapidly filled the space that was at one point Victory Point games.
Yeah,
and they've stepped it up quite a few levels.
Oh,
I concur.
10 times better. No offense to Victory Point games, but 10 times better in terms of communication, quality. Well, the quality components you can talk about whether you like the big thick counters or not, but good maps, great rules, rich gameplay.
Very.
They're expensive, but you get a lot out of what you're buying.
Well, you hit on a good point. They are a little expensive, compared to what you get, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way. It's just that you're paying more because print on demand, just like Victory Point Games was. So you're paying a little extra. It's a mom and pop shop, although it's a husband and wife shop. Tom and Mary, two of the greatest people you'll meet in the war game space. They really are amazing people.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And definitely worth your money to support, because there's very, very little errata, if any. They do have some errata, but extremely small.
They even published a Richard Berg game with hardly any errata.
That in itself is a feat.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
What was that called? Dynasties or something?
Yeah, Dynasty. I actually picked it up. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. Not solo at all.
That's
it's like a 5-player game. It actually looks really
5
neat.
or 6 player.
5 or 6 player, something like that.
Because they have the Westphalia, which is a 6-player only, but they even tell you in their games, like with 4X, don't buy this unless you like this, subject.
Right. Unless you're Callendale and play it by yourself.
Well, that too. But I mean, like Westphalia is a 6-player negotiation game. It must have 6 players. So don't buy it if you're going to play 4. Yeah,
it's a great game. Got to play it at Game On.
Game On. Yeah, that's right. I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, really.
And you know what's another good game that I don't know if you got a chance to play it at Game On or whatever, but has anybody played Captain Sonar?
I've seen it.
Neat,
I'd like to try it, but
that is a fun friggin' game.
Yeah, it looks
you need
neat.
8 people to play it right, though.
With 8 people, it is. You could really do it with 6, but
You know what it is?
6 or 8, it's fun.
It's a party game for wargamers.
It's exactly like Tank Duel. It is a party game for wargamers. It is the game you play at the end of the night. You've had a few and you're enjoying it and you're just having a good time. But you get intense. It gets really intense because you're like moving, you're plotting your movement, and you're figuring, I know where he's at. And when you get that moment, it's just really cool.
That's pretty cool.
I've seen it played. I haven't played it. The intensity level is off the charts.
Yes, definitely
it
fun.
looks like it's a blast.
Definitely fun. Definitely worth.
I'm unclear as to there's like Captain Sonar and then Sonar, and I'm not clear what's the difference. Are they different?
Sonar is the 2 to 4 player.
Okay,
and that's it's you move, hold on, wait for me to move. Whereas with Captain Sonar, it's all real time.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds like a completely different experience.
It is different, but then again, if you're playing a 2-player to 4-player, you kind of need to halt it a little bit. Whereas with Captain Sonar 8 players, that's the fun part, is everyone's over talking each other and you're trying to figure it out.
That's cool.
And if you're
That's
the captain,
cool.
you're trying to harness the mayhem. And at the same time, you're trying to be quiet because you don't want to let the other team hear what you're saying exactly, which also lends to the whole submarine warfare aspect. Definitely a fun game. If we were all together at a con, we'd have to play it.
I would
Sounds
totally
kinda
be okay with that.
Kind of like
Brave
how
Little Belgium.
U-Boat was. The app-based game
Yes.
with the ship and everything, that you had to slow it down if you were playing it solitaire.
Yeah.
The game was designed for a real-time element,
Right.
but if you could play it by yourself, but you needed to kind of abuse that pause button because you have too much going on.
I watched 4 guys who were hammered playing that, and it was hilarious. Slow down, slow down. It's too fast. Stop the game.
John
Hilarious.
says Brave Little Belgium Part 2, the Congo. Now, Brave Little Belgium, if you've not played it, that's a Dan game right there. Dan was talking about easy games to grok and stuff like that.
Right.
Does not matter what your war game level is, if you're uber hardcore grognard or if you're, just a casual guy. Brave Little Belgium, fantastic little game. Fun. And Justin was saying Captain Sonar is bananas, and it is stressful in the best ways, and I totally agree with him.
Very cool.
We'd have to try that out if we get a chance.
Yes. We all need to be at the same con at the same time and have fun and stream it live.
There has to be a con for us to be at first.
Yes, that's true.
The latest word out of Origins is actually, and this is a little bit inside scoop, is that the Gamma trade show's over. No decision is being made right now. However, they are meeting in mid-April when they will make a decision, and that's not that far away. So,
well, the thing right now is if you look at everything that's being said right now, and I've heard multiple things being said, take it with a grain of salt. Anything from next 2 weeks is a wash at this point for everybody. I think everyone's accepting the fact that it's staying home for the next 2 weeks, possibly extending it to 4. There is talk July, August, which kills the summer cons totally. And then there's even some talk that this could be an issue up to a year. And I think that's really over dramatizing it, to be perfectly honest with you, but that's just my personal, that's my personal opinion.
If it goes on for a year, you might as well just close down civilization at that point.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Look. I'm not even gonna. I said to you, Mo, I don't want to talk about this coronavirus.
No, we're not. I'm just bringing it up as far as
but
it relates to
convention. There is no way we are going to be in the same situation we are today, 365 days from now, guaranteed.
No,
and I've put all my money where my mouth is on that. So,
who wants to bet, Kev?
Anyone else who's saying otherwise is full of shit.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that people do need to try to do, and this was mentioned by a couple of friends of mine, is try to support your local game stores if you can, because you got to remember these people are
closed.
Traffic. Mine is still open, but they're not holding like game nights, like open game nights. They're basically keeping their doors open so they can still pay their staff.
Right.
And that's awesome. I mean, they're going out of their way to try to take care of their people as much as they can and eat it for the next couple of weeks. So if you have to run an errand and your game store's open, you might want to run in and just buy a game or buy a gift certificate.
Buy a coffee. Like a lot of these places sell food and all that sort of stuff. I was up at our local just the other day, and I went like, give me a sandwich to go. Right?
Sure. Yeah, this is a good time for everybody.
Off the food truck on the walk home this morning. So
what?
I got a shawarma off the food truck on the walk home.
There you go. Good for you.
So
nothing wrong with a shawarma. Totally hygienic.
Tasty shawarma too. So LJ Plays asking about online cons. There is haven't really thought about how this would work for war games, but it's been being discussed.
Yeah.
And there is a online RPG con called Contessa that's been running for the last several years, and I understand that it's relatively successful. So it might be a model that's worth looking at. Now, how much of that gets actually extreme, I have no idea. I don't think much of it at all, but I think it's probably something that's going to get explored in the next couple of weeks.
Well,
I wouldn't
definitely.
be surprised.
Yep.
It's in the works, and hopefully we'll see something pretty soon. But I think Kev is going to be teaching some games as well. He doesn't know yet, but we're gonna make it happen.
A lot of people make a lot of money during cons. They're selling a lot of games. They
Are
get
you
a lot of foot
volunteering to pay
traffic.
Kev?
No. I'm just saying a lot of people are affected. Oh,
Yeah.
and to answer Joe Duffy's question down there, check my channel. Actually, I've got a few different top 5, top solo games, stuff like that. So any of the games on one of those lists would probably be a good one to go with. I tell you in the descriptions, though, as I talk about them, whether or not it's overly complex or not. Pretty much anything by DVG, if you're fresh, is a safe bet, though.
Leader series is good for anybody who has patience to look through cards and stuff like that. Warfighter is another good one. It's actually surprisingly tactical for what it is, and it's a lot of fun. It has zombies.
Warfighter modern, right?
Yes.
World War II.
World War II Pacific, and I even liked the standard World War II Pacific.
Right.
Or not World War II. I should say World War II, not Pacific. I mean, I like both. But the thing is, when you go into it, understanding what it is and accepting what it is, you have fun. It's not ASL, it's not LNL, it's not.
Oh, of course not.
Any of those things. It's its own beast. It's a lot of fun. And
what I miss
that
they did with Modern that they stopped doing, and I understand why they stopped doing, because counters are a big cost.
Yeah.
Right, when it comes to games. But that the first Modern version, they had counters for 5.56 ammo, for 7.62 ammo, for 50 cal, for the different types of grenades.
I'm glad they dropped it.
And then later on, they switched to just basic ammo, which is easier on the players and it is easier on them, and it saves costs. But you got to admit, having the little counter tray full of all the different magazines just as freaking awesome.
It's a lot of counter trays.
Gearhead.
I love counter trays full of little chits.
But here's the thing. As well as I do, Nate. If you're going to go on an op, you're going to make sure you standardize your ammo. You're going to have, if you've got 5.56, you're going to have 5.56. If you're going to have 40, you're going to have 40 or 9 or whatever for your
you're
personal.
not racking both, right?
Exactly, because they say, I'm freaking Winchester. Oh, here's a mag. Boom, toss it, and there you go.
You can't tell me that it just drive you crazy when you see some of these war movies, especially the older ones where you'll have one guy with this big like M60 and this other guy with
got a bar, the other guy's
gun.
got a freaking carbine. It's like, here's a mag. No,
it's like every guy has a different gun with a different caliber on it. Like, no, that would never happen ever.
Well, I mean,
gotta be interchangeable.
Cop shows where they chase a dude down the street and they fire 46 shots and they never change their mag. That's the way it works, though. It's Hollywood magazines. But, going back to what Gary's saying, that is something that is being discussed. Hopefully we'll get something going here pretty soon, because I think this is going to probably hit us for a couple of weeks at least. Hopefully not much longer, but 2 to 4 weeks is what I would expect. And we've even talked about maybe doing a couple more shows here over the next couple of weeks to kind of help pass the time, because we know a lot of people are home. And normally we try to do only like 1 or 2 shows a month, but we may throw a couple extra shows in there to help pass the time, because everyone's stuck in the house and everyone's a little, stir crazy. I know Kev was saying he didn't want to talk about coronavirus much. I'm not trying to talk about the virus. I'm just talking about the effects of it as far as everybody being stuck at home and everyone going, man, I'm freaking bored. It's like, well, you know what? We've got a million damn streaming channels. There's nothing to be bored about. Everyone's got, tons of games. I mean, look back there.
There's not one wargamer. There's not one that doesn't have at least a handful of games on his shelf that he hasn't opened or played yet.
Yeah,
oh, absolutely.
Get after it, man. Roll dice, right?
Yeah,
roll dice, as Kev says, absolutely. And Justin saying back stealth and see while you still can. Totally agree.
Yes, that is a good game.
That is.
I may need to sign out.
Yeah, we're gonna be shutting down here in a minute, but that is absolutely one of the best, if not the best, covers I've ever seen in a war game.
I have not. Where have I been?
by Stealth and Sea. Look at that cover. That is a painting of the Italian frogmen using torpedoes
Okay. I
as subs. It is, they're basically using torpedoes as SDVs, and it's just amazing cover, gorgeous cover.
Yeah, really good game too.
Have you played?
Yeah, I did a video series on it.
Yeah.
Like David Thompson, I'm a fanboy, so I beg, borrow, steal whatever I can get from him whenever he's got something new coming out.
At this point, I trust David to come up with something interesting.
That's
it's funny. Somebody was saying, I forget what the. Oh, I was saying Napoleonics. We were talking about Napoleonics, and when we had him on for the interview or the show a couple weeks ago, and I said, I'm just not into Napoleonics. Although I like Napoleonics when it comes to things like Sharps rifles. Love the movies because it gets down to the tactical level. That group of chosen men and their little mission, that's really engaging. The overall maneuver stuff just leaves me cold. And right when I said that, somebody says, "Whoa, did you see David's face when you said that?" He was like, idea just popped in his head. And it's like David goes for these weird things. He finds these unique subjects and he tackles them, which is really cool. And, hey, as wargamers, we're thankful for every level of design, inspiration that all these designers come up with.
It is amazing, isn't it?
Absolutely. But hey, we've gone over 3.5 hours, almost 3.5 hours now. The longer we want it to go necessarily, but we really appreciate all you guys tuning in. We've got a game going out tonight to Robert. I'm going to be getting in touch with him, and maybe we've got Panzer Battles going out to him. We may have another show here in the next few days or a week. Because everyone's locked in. Let's have another show or two. And get everybody together and maybe have another game to give away. So if you guys have not tuned in, make sure you do tune in. We've got a lot of great content creators here. Kev does a great job. Gary does a great job. Nate does an okay job. I just want to make sure he's listening.
I was able to clip all of the hunters while we were talking.
I knew it. I could tell that was the clip.
The hell?
Why didn't you guys tell me you could hear it? I thought I had it down low enough.
Disrespect us. I mean, what the hell?
So good.
Yeah, I've got the little tray sitting here next to me. I've been clipping the whole time that.
That's hilarious. Look, everyone's got the same one except for me. I'm the loser with the other one.
Do you have that little one?
I like the other one better. Yeah,
no, that one is crap. This one does so much better.
No,
it takes you so long to clip your camera.
Dude, I'm a freaking elite clip. Oh, look, there you go, boom, right there.
I didn't like those. They just did not do well.
There's more of a getting used to it curve on those than there is on the deluxe one.
This is very dummy proof. This is for Marines.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Crayon eaters will definitely.
Pro gamers will use the old one.
This won't break.
Pro gamers will use the old one.
That is true.
Gamers. My wife will use this one though. She'll clip counters for me, which is excellent.
Has the C4 corner clipper, that thing that turns your counters into little stop signs.
Oh my God.
Just butchery. It's an atrocity against counters.
We have hexes on the map already. We don't need our counters to be hexed.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember, and you know what?
I think that was horrible.
Not for anything, but Nate wins the internet tonight because his wife clips his counters.
I haven't told you that before.
No. That's amazing.
She'll sit there and she'll watch videos on her tablet. I'm like, hey, honey, would you mind clipping some counters for me? Oh, no
Nate,
problem.
you're not the only one that has a wife that does that. One of the guys that was playing OCS at Winterfest, his wife not only clips his counter for him, but when he puts the game away, he just shoves it all in the box. And when he gets it home, she sorts it all back out for him.
No shit. Okay, mine wouldn't do that.
Does anybody want to trade down?
Younger sister.
Who wants to trade down?
No, I'm good.
All right.
I hit above my pay grade.
I did want to make one little PSA before we sign off here that Mark Herman is doing over at Consim World. He's doing an Empire of the Sun. If you go into EOTS topic, he's actually doing an Empire of the Sun against the world. So
you too get beat by Mark Herman at Empire.
Exactly. You can get beat like a rented mule against everybody else. So if you've been curious about that one, he's running that right now because of all the stuff going on. Everybody's staying at home. Stay tuned. We'll have another show here, maybe in a couple days, maybe in a week. We're not sure yet. We'll let you know. But I really appreciate Kev, Gary, and Nate for coming on tonight. Dan, he kind of cut out on us earlier, but appreciate him too as well. And appreciate all you guys for tuning in. And stay tuned for the next episode here of Whiskey Charlie. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Everybody have a great one.
Take care.